Lebanon County Commissioners County Session, Board Plant Chair.
Thank you. Mr. Darrell Hicks, would you lead us in prayer, please?
Dear Heavenly Father, as we come to you today, we just thank you for all the blessings we receive. Lord, we just ask that you be with each and every one here as this sickness goes through our land. Lord, we just turn to you for mercy and guidance. Lord, we just pray for each and every one here that the decisions made tonight is pleasing with you. Lord, we just ask that you be with each and every one on their way home with traveler mercies. Lord, we pray for the sick and the hurting, Lord, as well as the unsaved, Lord. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Thank you. Mr. Doug, would you lead us in pledge allegiance, please?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Just wonder if you give roll call, please.
Dana Ferguson. Here. Kenneth Miller.
Here.
Rocky Preston.
Sean Logan.
Leah Dye. Here. Norman Frazier.
Here.
Gary Fur.
Here.
Sonny Hall.
Here.
Bill Melton.
Here.
Doug Vickers.
Here.
Michelle Hill. Here. Janet Higgins. Here. Roseanne Ward. Here. Darrell Hicks.
Here.
Ronnie Hopper.
Here.
Mary Powers. Here. Angie Kern. Here. Don.
Here.
Ward Plant.
Here. Have a quorum. Line item 4. Have a quorum. Line item 5, approval of an agenda. Have a roll call, have a motion.
Second.
Second. Hicks. Vickers. Let's do a roll call.
Dana Ferguson.
Yes.
Kenneth Miller.
Here.
Rocky Preston.
Here.
Leah Dye.
Here, or yes.
Thank you, Phil.
Norman Frazier.
Yes.
Gary Fur.
Yes.
Sonny Hall.
Yes.
Bill Melton.
Yes.
Doug Vickers.
Yes.
Michelle Hill.
Yes.
Janet Higgins. Yes. Roseanne Ward. Yes. Darrell Hicks.
Yes.
Ronnie Hopper.
Aye.
Mary Powers. Here. Angie Kern.
Yes.
Don Patton.
Yes.
Ward Plant.
Yes.
Anyone wish to change their vote?
Motion carries. Line item 6, citizen forum, Mr. Mike Melton. Up front and center, please. It is.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, ladies and gentlemen of the County Commission. My name is Mike Melton. I'm here tonight representing the Tennessee Suicide Prevention Network, or the TSPN. Our agency works across the state of Tennessee to educate communities about the warning signs of suicide with the intent of preventing suicide. According to the Tennessee Health Department, suicide is the number 9 leading cause of all deaths in our state, and it's the second leading cause of death among people from age 15 to 24. Tennessee was the first state to recognize September as Suicide Awareness Month, and other states have now followed. Our governor signed off an official proclamation to observe this Suicide Prevention Awareness Day, and it'll be in Nashville, the second community in September. This gesture demonstrates the state of Tennessee's understanding of the problem of suicide and our commitment to our suicide prevention programs. We also reach out to city and county mayors, asking them to sign similar proclamations like this one. I don't know how many of you have been touched with suicide, but I got involved in this since the pandemic. It became abundantly clear to me that talk about. But we need to be educated. I'm trying to learn and find out all I can. I'm going to be in a position to help people. We cannot just deny and not talk about these things. We need to be able to offer people. People do not commit suicide because they want to die. They commit suicide because they can find more reason to live. I want to help all I can in my community to help people to want to live, and we have to be able to give them a compelling reason to live. And the question is, could you do that face with it? And for a lot of us, it's task, but you can do these things. And I want to say that the state of Tennessee, I've really been impressed. They have some good programs if you know how to reach out and get involved. Tennessee has a faith-based initiative programs and some good people with skills. There are resources out there if we can direct people to them. And that's our job. And hopefully the County Chronicle will publish several ads through the month of September and get people talking about this and try to educate ourselves. And we need to be in a position to ask people. If you're around somebody who is depressed and you worry that they might be considering suicide, would you be comfortable asking them? Well, that's what you got to do. You got to ask them. And then if they say yes, then you have to be able to persuade them to give help. And then you've got to be in a position to offer some help. And there is help. There are 24-hour, 7-day numbers. There's countless agencies and people you can call yourself, 800 numbers. But these are things that we've got to do. But one of those things I want you to keep in mind is our Tennessee veterans and active duty military personnel, National Guardsmen, they face a disproportionate risk compared to the general population of Tennessee, with more dying from suicide than combat. We ask you to visit our website. It's www.tspm.org. The Northwest District Director is waiting the name of Tasha Gurley. She is a great speaker. We'll be glad to come and have you direct you to resources in ways that you could. I appreciate it if you pass this proclamation tonight and consider it. Won't you take care of yourself during this pandemic? Because, you know, things are stressful. People's lives. I'm 68 years old. I've never seen a time when people are behaving like they are now. Have you? And it's a stressful time we live in. Not only are we concerned about our physical health, and we need to do that, but your mental health. I would urge you, pay attention to your mental health. And to those around you. People are really stressed, and we are brothers keepers. We're going to have to look out for each other. And let's work together to make Denton County a place where we can give people a reason why they should live. We don't want them to die. We want them to live. God bless you. Take care of yourself.
Thank you. Bye. Now you're reading the proclamation.
I'm going to read the proclamation just so it's on record. I believe, Wanda, you have a copy of this for the minutes as well. And thank you, Mr. Melton. Being in the military, you know, we go through a lot of suicide prevention training, and in most cases, someone gives you the warning signs long before they ever get to that point. So I would encourage our public as well as the commission to take a suicide prevention training program so that you know the warning signs before it gets to that, tragic point. But a proclamation, Benton County, Tennessee, Office of the Mayor. Proclamation from the Office of the County Mayor to honor and recognize September 2020 as Suicide Prevention Awareness Month in Benton County. Whereas suicide is one of the most disruptive and tragic events a family and a community can experience, with more than 1,100 lives lost in Tennessee each year and an estimated 25 attempted suicides for each suicide death. And whereas suicide is the 9th leading cause of all deaths in Tennessee, the 2nd leading cause of death among youths ages 10 to 24, and the 1st leading cause for children ages 10 through 17. And whereas more than 3 lives a day are lost to suicide in Tennessee, which means we lose 22 Tennesseans each week and 97 people per month. And whereas Tennessee veterans, active duty military, and National Guardsmen face a disproportionate risk as compared to the general population, with more dying from suicide than combat. And whereas public awareness of this tragic problem is the key to preventing further suffering and loss of life, and the risk for human self-destruction can be reduced through awareness, education, and treatment, as the highest risk for suicide is among survivors of those who died by suicide or those who have attempted suicide. And whereas suicide prevention has been declared a state priority by the governor, and the Tennessee legislature has declared teen suicide prevention as a state priority in partnership with the Tennessee Suicide Prevention Network to implement the Tennessee Strategy for Suicide Prevention. And whereas Tennessee is a national leader in the effort to prevent suicide, being one of the first states to develop a suicide prevention and evaluation plan covering the lifespan, and whereas the governor of Tennessee has appointed a Suicide Prevention Network Advisory Council to coordinate the implementation of the Tennessee Strategy for Suicide Prevention. And whereas the Tennessee Suicide Prevention Network is a grassroots collaboration of Tennesseans and organizations working to eliminate the stigma of suicide, educate the community about the warning signs of suicide, and ultimately reduce the rate of suicide in our state. And whereas 2020 marks Tennessee Suicide Prevention Network's 20th year of dedicated efforts to reach every Tennessean in every county. And whereas every member of our community should understand that throughout life's struggles, we all need occasional reminders that we are all silently fighting our own battles. And whereas we encourage all Tennesseans to take the time to inquire as to the well-being of their family, friends, and to genuinely convey their appreciation for their existence by any gesture they deem appropriate. A simple phone call, message, handshake, or hug can go a long way towards helping someone realize that suicide is not the answer. And now therefore I, Brett W. Lashley, Mayor of Benton County, Tennessee, do hereby proclaim September 2020 as Suicide Prevention Awareness Month, and do urge all citizens to work to prevent suicide and to raise awareness and tolerance around all people affected by this tragedy.
You bring the birds in here, we. You bring the birds in here, we. Yeah. That now moves us line to item 7, Commissioners Forum. Any commissioners would like to speak this time? Yes, Miss.
Hill, fifth district.
Okay, I've got Miss Roseanne, I'm sorry. She's right ahead of me. I'll get you next. Miss
I
Hill,
should raise this up, if you can hear me or not.
we can hear you there. Go ahead.
I just want to talk about something that happened this last week that has been brought to my attention by several people, and I've been asked about it. At the electric system board meeting last week, Commissioner Powers made a motion to increase their pay from, it was either $75 or $100, up to the max pay, which is $300 a month. I would just kind of like to ask you, why maybe didn't you take smaller steps and say in the beginning, let's just raise this $50 a month? Or go at it at a slower rate than going from where you are to the max, which is $300. So I don't understand why it is so hard about that, serving on that board that justifies a $300 pay. I do feel like that we have people in this county that can't even pay their bill. So there are people giving to the electric system on their electric bills to help people pay their bills. We do. And then somebody's making $300 for a 1 hour meeting a month. You know, I feel like that's a little unfair to the citizens, myself, when bills are so high anyway. So I'd just like to ask you if there's some reason, is there something about the board that is so hard and complicated that you feel that it justifies a $300 pay for maybe a 1 hour meeting?
Yes, I'll be happy to answer that.
Okay.
The board has always been paid the same amount for as long as the electric company has been in existence. There's never been a raise. We checked around and found that other board members in other counties, what they received for their board meetings. And so I felt like since there had never been a raise, that it justified the jump from what we were getting to the maximum.
The maximum pay of $300
Yes.
from, what was it, original?
100.
100. So you didn't think maybe let's take this slow and go $50 a month? You know, we just voted last month not to pay the commissioners anymore. We make $75 and we stay up here sometimes 3 hours, 4 hours. You know, we have some pretty tough meetings. I volunteer for that and I'm happy with that. So, I mean, I've been asked by several people what justified you making that motion to raise your pay to $300 a month.
I just felt like that we should get the same amount as other board members of electric systems.
So there's lots of counties that surround us that are county commissioners that make 3 times, 4 times, a lot more money than we do as commissioners. So you feel like that you as a commissioner, you need to raise that pay just because other counties make a higher pay?
I feel like that we should be compensated the same as other board members in electric systems. I make no apologies.
Thank you,
I would be
Ms. Victor.
ashamed.
Anything further from any other commissioners? Go ahead, Ms. Victor.
Yes, or I have a comment.
Hey, I've got Mr. Victor walking up here 1 second. I know I told you, but go ahead, Mr. Victor's walking to the podium. Let me get him and then I'm coming to you, Rochelle. Thank you.
Board, thank you very much for this opportunity to address the commission. I just want to say what an extreme pleasure and honor and privilege it has been for the last 2 years to serve the people of Fulton District. We've done a lot in the last 2 years. We've accomplished a lot. I'm very proud of our budget we just passed with no tax increase. I'm very proud and excited thinking about the future that we've got for Benton County. I'm actually excited about it. When we talk about farmers market and the potential that has and the revenue it's going to generate and bring in to Benton County, when I think about the Patsy Cline Memorial, and when I think about all the great things that are going to be going on in the next 12 months, I can do nothing except be proud of every single person up there that has worked so hard for the people of Benton County. And I want you to know that I'm not getting off the bus, I'm going to the middle of the bus. As a former bus driver, Ward, you know sometimes those are the loudest people. And I will be moving from commissioner to citizens forum and be sitting right up here, and I'm happy to offer my help, my assistance, every way I can to every elected official in Benton County. We've got a great mayor, we've got a great sheriff who does a wonderful job. We've got leadership in this county right here second to none. And I can't say enough good things about the people of Benton County, and it's been an honor. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Doug. That's very great of you to do that. And thank you for working with us.
Glad to
You've
do
always
it.
been a lead in a lot of it. Thank you. Let me get Rochelle. Miss Rochelle,
Yes, sir.
go right ahead.
Okay, first I would like to ask, whichever commissioner does not have their phone muted except to speak, please mute it. It is very distracting.
the commission has passed, what is it, to go 100, or what is it, on the 2 years, remember, 150, I think, in 2 years, this commission has, and, I couldn't tell you myself, Barry, I don't know if you know, I know any of the others on the board that's.
Chair,
Go ahead.
Commissioner Frazier, 3rd District. In regards to the commission getting a raise in 2 years, we've never passed that resolution, sir. We've only approved to pay ourselves some money that has been rescinded because it wasn't supposed to be presented at this time. So we do not have a resolution to give ourselves a raise on the floor.
Is that right? I thought it's been passed. Is it right? I know that.
And another thing, Ms. Powers, I would like to ask a question. Was not aware of the electric deal. Do they fall under the same guidelines with new years or whatever that the raises would be presented? In other words, you have to wait 2 years or anything? I don't know. I'm asking.
I don't think there's any requirement.
Thank you.
Does anybody got anything any further?
Well, I just want to say, I don't think the electric company would fall under that, Norman, because nobody has a set, they're all different when they get appointed to the board. It's not one time like we are. So I don't see how they could do that. I don't know either way, but I don't see how you could wait, because they're appointed right there at when one runs out, they appoint one.
Well, I see that very convenient.
Yeah, I ain't disagreeing with that.
I'm gonna bring Mr. Rocky. Go ahead, Mr. Rocky.
Thank you, Chairman.
Rocky Preston.
Chairman, Mayor, Commission, citizens. I'm going to talk about the subject of COVID-19. I'm going to use part of an article out of the Jackson Sun newspaper. I'm going to draw the county government body in the conversation, the school leadership, and the purpose of this conversation is to try and articulate to everybody there is more to do. And most of this is written. I'm going to have to read it. I'm going to take this off so that my glasses won't fog up. First, the Jackson Sun newspaper article, dated August 2nd. It reads, concerning the COVID-19, March the 5th, Tennessee reported the first case, COVID-19, positive patient. West Tennessee Healthcare has intensified their preparations to care for the COVID-19 patients. Reading their writing, our plans for emergency preparedness were updated for the pandemic as we work with our medical staff, our hospitals in West Tennessee, hospital systems across the state. And here's a key word, a community effort with our mayors and other local leaders to establish a catastrophic surge plan. This is simply a scenario where volume of patients' needs exceeds capacity to care for the patients. Today, August the 2nd, Madison County General Hospital had over 500 patients in beds, 99 of whom tested positive for COVID-19. These COVID patients requiring intensive care, 24 on ventilators. This same morning, 20% of the admitted patients were COVID-19 positive. They are setting records for patients on ventilators. A little more on this article. COVID-19 patients require extended stays and a much higher mortality rate than non-COVID hospitalized patients. Our people and our resources are being severely strained. Hospitals across our state are competing for resources. Our ethics committee, this is serious, our ethics committee is meeting regularly to prepare for a situation when patient needs exceed the hospital capacity. We are not there yet, but we are very close. Now, it is imperative that we slow the spread of the COVID virus, or we'll be facing horrible decisions
that hospitals in the overrun pandemic areas have faced. This was written by Jackie Taylor, MD, Chief Physician, Executive for West Tennessee Healthcare, 30 years of practice. Next, the Camden General Hospital. The Camden General Hospital is a part of the West Tennessee healthcare family. No ventilators. One ventilator for transporting patients to another hospital. No training. This is as of 12 days ago. No training for the COVID-19 patients. No intensive care units for COVID patients. West Tennessee Healthcare is made up of the Jackson-Madison County General Hospital, not only ours here in Camden, West Tennessee Healthcare Volunteer Hospital, I think that's up around Martin, West Tennessee Healthcare North Hospital, that's Jackson, West Tennessee Healthcare Cane Creek, West Tennessee Healthcare Foundation, there's one in Bolivar Mountain, Martin, and Dyersburg. Henry County. Here's what Henry County's done. They have a COVID response team put together by the county mayor. This team consists of chairman of the Henry County Medical Center, the county emergency management director, city mayor, city manager, hospital CEO, marketing director, the CEO for the chairman, Chamber of Commerce, superintendents of the county schools, the sheriff, the chief of police, and the county medical examiner. That makes up Henry County's COVID response team. No city aldermen, no county commissioners are a part of this committee or this team. The reason being, the meetings are not public. Should there be a commission seated, the meeting would have to be public. This organization, along with the county mayor, the commission, has met, has discussed, and worked with the school board and directors on the COVID-19 school situation. To the school board and the director, and I say this as respectfully and kind as I know how. August the 6th, I was present at the school board meeting. Many times I heard, we've got to get the kids back in school. From the director I heard, I've had doctors tell me, get the kids back in school. I've had medical entities tell me, get the kids back in school. No teachers have told me they're not wanting schools to open. Not one of 12 school board members questioned the director as of, what doctors have you talked to? What medical entities have you talked to? I say to the director, and I say to the school board, you have some teachers that feel trapped. You have teachers in fear of losing their job for the simple reason, should they disagree. The director hopes for the state governor to mandate that teachers become critical essential. Critical essential means, should they be exposed to COVID-19, no quarantine. It is also encouraged by the Center for Disease Control and Prevention. I apologize. They're not encouraging teachers to be essential in that manner. They're just giving me the definition of what that means. I'm sorry.
There's no quarantine for them?
I'm sorry.
You said there was no quarantine for them?
Should the governor mandate that teachers become critically essential, and he hasn't done this yet, that means, should they be exposed to the virus, they won't be required to quarantine. So maybe now's the time, or in days to come, to have a conversation about teachers receiving hazard pay. I've got a list of people I'm going to read off to you and tell you their concerns, and I'll wrap this up. Tennessee Education Agency, President Beth Brown, no sound decision on resuming in-person instructions in Tennessee. If schools have opened, they should close. Protect My Care, a group of more than 2,000 Tennessee physicians. Opening schools under these circumstances are insane and irresponsible, says Dr. Bono. Dr. Amy Gordon-Bono is internal medicine specialist with a master's in public health. Director of schools, Adrian Battle. National Public Schools won't open until September the 7th. The risk to the health and safety of students and staff are too great at this time. Tennessee Education Association pleads for statewide delays in school openings for in-person classes. The risks are too high across the state for opening the schools. Chattanooga Pediatrician, Dr. Hunt. There's a clear danger to children and their families if districts rush to reopen while COVID-19 crisis is worsening in our state. Dr. Stephen Hyman, a Tennessee critical care physician and a survivor of COVID-19. We cannot open schools until we have this pandemic controlled. I'm almost done. I think her name is Dr. Birx, B-I-R-X, White House Coronavirus Task Force visited Nashville and warned Nashville rural infection rates are likely far higher than being reported. American Academy of Pediatrics and Children's Hospital Association, a 40% surge in the nation's child cases during the last 2 weeks of July. We should not rush to reopen our schools without a cautious and comprehensive community plan, and this we do not have. I ask the mayor now, go to work on the COVID-19 response team. In the words of Henry County Mayor Brett Greer, we are learning as we go, though difficult and sometimes unpopular. These efforts can help our community gain a path to combat the pandemic. Dr. O'Leary, top official with the American Academy of Pediatrics, told science should drive the decision making on safely reopening schools. My opinion, I don't think any of us are prepared. I think we're without a safety net. I think we need to use more common sense, reevaluate the COVID-19 response team built by this mayor. Now is the time to be brave. I think that we're following the elected officials and we're not following the science. Now is the time to follow the science. We've got decisions to make. Chairman, how do you vote?
Thank you, Mr. Crockett. A very, very important issue you talk about. Mr. Martin, would you like to come to the podium, please?
I sure will.
Kind of give your impression of what your feelings or thoughts.
First of all, out of due respect for this commission, I appreciate all y'all do for our school, but I'm tired of Rocky Crescent's attack on our school system. Our school system has been working their tails off for 5 months, developing plans. We met with the infectious disease person from Henry County. You have no idea what you just said. We have worked around the clock, and all you've done is call trouble, call the state, call the finance person for the State Department, just trying to cause us problems. And there's absolutely no reason for that. Asking teachers to write you statements about not wanting to start the school. We conducted a survey. 80% of our population said they were ready to go back to school. Governor Lee, Dr. Percy, the head official for the health department, recommended us go back to school. We're a little over 1%. You have no idea what you're talking about. And to say that we don't have a plan, our school nurses have worked Rocky probably about 100 hours without getting paid, developing a plan. We've met with local doctors. I don't have to tell you their name. You have one responsibility on that commission, that's to pass our budget. You don't have anything else to do with our school system. You write an article in the paper last December, just talking bad about our school system, about me, about the former director. If I was the county commission, I'd be ashamed for you to be a part of that organization.
Mark, I ask you to reframe everything to the commission.
No, he needs to hear this.
I know it, but let's direct it to the commissioners.
Chairman, let Mark talk, please.
It absolutely is ridiculous that he attacks our school system and attacks me personally. If you want to attack me personally, you can do that all day. I've got thick skin. But you attack our supervisors and our school nurses and our administrators and our teachers and our parents and And all these people that's busted their butt over the last few months, and for you to sit here and say on Facebook Live and in front of this community that we hadn't done our work, it's not yours and the mayor's job to get the schools ready. It's ours. And for you to say that, and then saying about the critical, what I said is there's several, and you can ask the mayor, there's several local districts that have made that local decision to have their teachers be critical. I totally disagree with that. I think it's ridiculous that they put it on our mayor to make a mask mandate. I think that's just more than a local official ought to have to make. What I said is that our board attorney did not recommend us having our teachers be essential. I wish the governor would do that because it would make it easier for us to have school. I think we have 3 children school age with COVID in our district. And probably not, most of them are much older than our teachers. I'm sending my child, we send our children to school, we never open those doors when there's not risk. But I come up here for this commission, and like I said, I appreciate everything you do, but to have a member on this commission, when there's never been a school board member, I've never come up here, and Mr. Preston has personally attacked me. Every time I go out in public, what does Mr. Preston have against you? I don't know, but I'm telling you one thing, Rocky. I'm director of schools, and you don't have a thing to do with my job but vote on the budget. And I hope you remember that, because that's the only responsibility you have as a county commission. And I'll be glad to ask any questions that you have.
Mark,
Your child's going is good enough for me, sir.
But my child's not going because I'm director of schools.
No, sir.
My child's going because I've seen the way she's acted the last 5 months. And she can't walk, she can't talk, but not being in that classroom, it's well worth the risk of sending her. But again, I tell you as a commission, there is absolutely no sense in Mr. Preston attacking our school board or attacking our teachers or attacking me. And any other questions from, and I apologize, but to say I'm mad is an understatement.
Mark, I'd just like to actually go back. One thing that did say that hit my mind is if a teacher, I've got a granddaughter that's a teacher, I don't know what they do there in Carroll County.
Right.
But you say they come down with COVID, are y'all going to let them be excused to the 14th exit? Is that what he's saying?
What we have told our staff board, as long as we continue to see BEP funds and we receive revenues, we will pay our teachers. The Department of Labor says 80 hours. I see Brett shaking his head. I think he agrees. If we have an employee get sick, as long as those revenues are there, we're going to take care of our people. That's what we've told everybody. Obviously, I hope the revenues don't start coming in, but this is uncharted waters. But again, I just take offense to that. I have very thick skin, but to talk about our teachers and our staff, the way they work, and say that we didn't have a plan is just totally irresponsible and not doing what you should be doing. And to say that in a public meeting is embarrassing, to be honest.
Well, I'm glad to hear you say, because I feel very dissensible. We ought to support our teachers. If they come sick, teaching my child or your child or whoever, we should scratch our back too.
Any more questions? Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mark.
Chairman, that member was fine. I want to thank the director for his words. And I do hope the director's right, and I hope I'm wrong. Thank you for the floor.
Thank you. Thank you. Anything further in the commissioner forum? Not?
Commissioner Hill, 5th District.
Yes. Rochelle.
I want to start out by saying that I work for the sheriff's office. I am sometimes accused by other commissioners of promoting the sheriff's office, but I hope the citizens and all other county employees know that I will stand up for any group that I feel is being slighted. So I hope that when resolutions 5 and 6 come up, I will not have to be the only commissioner saying something about it. That is all.
Thank you. If nothing further, moves to line item 8. County Mayor, Attorney. We've done the proclamation. Mr. Mayor, would you like to speak? Attorney, either one.
I'll take my mask off like Commissioner President, just so it's easy. I guess I'll get on the more ready topic that we just talked about, schools opening. I would say, and y'all have heard me say this a lot, but what's the cost of not opening? And I believe Director Florence kind of exhibited a lot of that. Is you've got mental health, you've got child abuse potential, you've got kids who have been out since March. And I believe, like when the statistics are run, that a child is actually more in danger staying home than they are from the COVID. Now, it doesn't mean that they can't catch COVID and take it to somebody. And so maybe to rebut a little bit about what Director Florence maybe said is that the public health is the county commission's concern, okay? But I do believe the school board, it's equally as concerning, if not more, when related to schools. We just have to communicate better. I applaud Director Florence and the school board for doing the invites that we've done the last couple of years, and where with the commission and the school boards have gotten together, I believe around Christmas. We've got to begin building bridges. We've got to begin communicating more. I do believe, I know I've talked to Commissioner President quite a bit, and I believe everything that has come from him, whether it be regarding the schools or any issue, has always been with a lot of thought and a lot of concern. And anyone and everyone can be misinformed, but I just believe at the end of the day, the schools are in charge with this decision. And so we just have to trust that they've done their due diligence. And regardless if we agree or disagree, once the decision's made, we should support it as best we can and find a way. COVID-19, of course, is a daily presence in our lives. The COVID-19 response team was an excellent suggestion. I have paid attention a little bit to the Henry County model that's in place. They're double the size of Benton County. They have more than double the amount of confirmed cases in Benton County, but we're rising, and it's a concern that we should be looking at going forward. So I'm going to reach out to Mayor Greer to see how they structured it, and we kind of have an informal committee. We got Mr. Richard Key here, who's the head of our EMA. He's on, if not once a day, twice a day, conference calls related to this. The sheriff, you see it in your line of work. It's a big threat. I'm not going to issue a mass mandate. I'm glad the director of schools mentioned something like that. One thing, I don't believe ultimately it's something that's constitutional. If it's challenged, it's going to create headaches that we don't need. Secondly, the one who probably is the biggest recipient of a mass mandate, the chaos of that, isn't the mayor. It's going to be Sheriff Christopher and Chief Sukash and Chief Smith. Because anytime you issue a mandate is about having a repercussion if you don't follow the mandate. So that repercussion normally is initiated by law enforcement. We don't need to strap or saddle law enforcement with yet another, to me, chaotic mandate on them. So the first thing to do is mandates are not going to happen, at least from the mayor's position. Do I encourage masks? Yes. Do I social distancing, sanitation? We need to be following all of these. And as you notice, the courthouse has had 4 confirmed cases over 2 weeks ago. We shut down for 12 business, roughly 12, 13 days, including the weekend, just so if there is anyone who had contracted that, they would show signs or symptoms, and we would be able to react to that appropriately. We have opened up beginning today. All county buildings are a mask-only environment. I will say that. So I, as an operating manager in charge of county properties and county administration, that yes, we do have a mask mandate for county offices, operations, and buildings. Now, I also want to, before I address another issue, talk about the Benton County electric system. I was not in attendance of that particular vote where the raise was made. However, I do know from attending multiple meetings that, and this is a complaint or a concern of mine, was that the Benton County electric budget was presented and passed in one meeting. And that's something that I'm very much against. This county commission took 11 drafts to get to a final draft. I would like to see the same behavior come from our Benton County electric system, that they don't present to these board members in one meeting and force them to make a decision on the budget in one meeting. And I believe that they have talked multiple times about these raises on other meetings that I have been there. and it's commensurate to the competitive levels. You know, the surrounding electric co-ops, electric entities. I do know that Mr. Raymond Barnes is pretty much compensated based upon the competitive level of what someone would be getting paid in the same position from a neighboring electric committee or operation. So I believe that same mentality probably followed over with y'all's decision as a board to increase your pay to the commensurate to the competitive boards that oversee those entities. Under Mr. Barnes, as our director, I do know the profits have been financially sufficient to meet these budgets, to pay these raises or whatever you want to call it. But I do know that going forward, you know, when it comes to approving anything budget-wise and raises, I just would like to see the electric board does not take one meeting to discuss it and come to a decision. It'd be like putting the budget on y'all in the month of June and say, pass it. You know, I don't like that. They have heard my comments on that multiple times. So hopefully we won't run into this situation without being properly vetted, properly debated by the public. I would encourage Commissioner Ward to also attend. It is the third Tuesday of each month, beginning at 5:30 at the electric system. The public is invited. This board has made changes so far, and I believe there's more to make. Now, some farewells and welcomes. Of course, thank you, Commissioner Vickers, for your comments. He's given us 2 good, solid years as a commissioner. He did what he was asked to do. He filled a vacancy, served it to the best of his ability. Also, you know, Commissioner Higdon, doesn't have as much time as Commissioner Vickers, but both of you came in and you did exactly what the citizens have asked you to do. You've been involved in the committees. You've been involved in your county legislative practices. I do know Ms. Higdon served on the insurance committee, and I believe we've probably had the best insurance product, health benefits come out of that committee. It took them 2 good, long years. I mean, they really, really, really worked. She was part of that committee and part of that product that came out of that saved the county money and got the employees a very effective insurance plan. Commissioner Vickers, who's been very active on an array of issues, but especially law enforcement. As you see, last year we approved the raises for law enforcement. We've got the camera systems getting ready to be bid on. I think he's been very supportive of the law, the sheriff's operations, and we commend you for that. We also want to welcome, Commissioners-elect Michael Nunnery and Mr. Dwayne Fowler from 4th and 5th districts respectively. They will be sworn in the month of September. Again, they'll come in and they'll give it the best efforts that they can. This is what the democratic process is about, is getting these elections done. And all you do is you serve your county to the best of your abilities. I just do know that this particular body, in the 2 years that you've served, the citizens should be extremely proud of you. You have tackled 2 tough budgets. You came in with this budget on time. It was certified expeditiously by the comptroller. You came in the black. Because you did that and you worked so hard, we're getting ready to vote tonight on employee raises that probably are long overdue. But when you work as hard as you have as a county commission, you show the citizens that you're basically worth your pay and that you're vested in your county. You're able to provide these things for county employees that's been long overdue, and you're going to address that issue tonight. I invited Mr. Justin Whipple with the E911 operation that we have here. As you know, we're going to have a resolution related to the sale of county property to the E911 district, should they accept that offer. We were in the valuation process for that, and the location is up on the board. And I want to get this information out to you now, so when you get to the resolution, you can ask me whatever questions you've got. But as you can see, basically 2/3 of that property is what you would call non-developable property, I guess without cost. So it's a much lower valuation. The E911 district will be looking at basically almost up to 2 acres. They have asked if we would consider a $50,000 price for that property, and I think if we can get that, we need to celebrate that. Honestly, it has my recommendation to sell that piece of property at $50,000. And again, we help their mission. They pay in to the county. This money will go into the EMA construction, the EMA building that we will be constructing. So I think it's a win-win either way. But Mr. Whipple is here to answer any questions should you have when that resolution is presented. I also have invited Ms. Karen Hudson, who pretty much kind of oversees our county sports complex, the operation there. We will, under any other business, we didn't get it in time. We just got the ballpark operating agreement in hand. So I'll ask you that pretty much for the next year, we will consider it as is. And that's basically the same contract that we had last year will be in place this year. They've done an excellent job managing that particular operation. I will say next year's contract, I believe, will have some changes, some little enhancements or additions or edits. But as you know, we're getting ready to put a lot of investment capital into improving these parks. And I believe as we get more financial investment into these parks and they begin to grow in their use, it's going to require a little bit more scrutiny of the future operating agreements. But for the next year, I believe we're best served in staying with what we've got, and that will be presented to you at the end of the under any other business to improve. It may be under a resolution, but I think it's under any other business. As you know from the county mayor's notes, I put these in your packets. I've emailed you as well that we've got a lot of grant information. All of the grant news that we've had so far has been very, very, very positive. And as you know, that we're leveraging these grants to the greatest financial impact possible at the least possible cost to the Benton County taxpayers. The grants that have been shown on your notes pretty much have not cost the county a single penny to obtain, even our match. And that is a very rare opportunity when you can piece these things together financially where they don't pull from our property tax base or our sales tax base. I did have something I want to also put in the financial rating. Moody's is a credit rating services, and they have published their report for Benton County for 2020. I've also included that to you. I've also sent it to you via email. We also have a link on our Benton County TN webpage that people can see the financial strength of Benton County. Our bond ratings for the size of county that we are basically as high as you can get. And if we grow in population a little bit more and valuation of our property, we cross a particular type of threshold, we'll even kick into another bond rating category. But so far, the financial health of Benton County was reflected extremely, extremely healthy. I've had one issue I want to talk about, employee complaints, because there was an employee who was basically ordered by their superior that they were not to talk to the county mayor. And I want to say that is in error. Any Benton County employee is allowed to talk to the county mayor regarding any issue. But most especially anything that would involve compensation and benefits, which was the discussion topic for that particular employee. So if you're a department head out there and you tell your employee that they are not to speak to the county mayor, that's a form of harassment. It actually would fall under the whistleblower protection statute. I was an inspector general for 5 years at the Tennessee Army National Guard. I've been through 2 Army inspector or DOD inspector general courses and training. I would just advise you to never instruct your employee that they cannot go up the chain of command to express any type of concern related to county business or to respective business. So I just want to say that if you're a county employee watching on Facebook, I have an open door policy. Anyone is available to walk in to my office. Also, I want to talk about, of course, we've got a resolution up regarding the sale of property up at the Magic Valley Golf Club. And just to clarify, because a lot of misinformation, of course, has been put forth. And I would say that anyone who has run publicly with what I would consider misinformation, that the mayor's office probably should have been the first stopping point before they embarked on calling county commissioners, I guess you can say drumming up public discontent over something that we've been working on for 20 months. So the sale of the property at the Magic Valley Golf Club entailed this. When we began looking at the county holdings of property, we saw the vast amount of property. First of all, we're not in the land management business. And one of the first things that stood out was the county owned over 250 parcels that it had no business keeping on the books. We had to get rid of those properties so that we could create property taxpayers. There's also the utilization of what you call excess land or land that the county will never use. The EMA property is one of those, or the E911 property is one of those. That is probably a particular location that we had no intent or desire to utilize. E911, it fits their need. Again, that is a win-win outcome. We should applaud that. The Magic Valley Golf Course. I've been golfing on that golf course since 1972. It was formed in 1966. And we've owned the property since 1910. Benton County has. Now, the first thought was when the property committee got together, and the property committee being the property sale committee, not necessarily the legislative committee. Chairman Fraser is on that committee. Ryan Hall is on that committee. Judge John Whitworth is on that committee. Tim Burris is on that committee, and myself, the mayor, is on that particular committee. So 20 months ago, when we began forming this thought process of how we're going to get rid of county parcels, this one was part of those parcels that we put forth to the legislative body to say, give us the leeway to be able to rid ourselves of property that we shouldn't be, holding. And what I mean by that is, we talked to the Magic Valley Golf Club board. And the first thought is, will this property ever be used for the expansion of the golf course? And it's no. Originally, they were thinking that maybe we could get 18 holes out of the golf course. That will never happen. Not only that, this particular property, if you know where it is, it's in your packets, is elevated property with some hills, some gullies, would never be conducive to golf course development. So, as we measured out that particular tract of land, we noticed there's roughly 30 to 32 acres of property that the county could get rid of. Now think about a corner lot on 641 at a major intersection. Okay? And the county owns that lot. And we're talking about land that should be developed, that should be in someone else's hand. Let them develop it and pay property taxes. Okay? So it would be like us owning a prime piece of property on Highway 641, basically costing ourselves the ability to extract property taxes off of it. Premium property taxes, because land on the golf course isn't something like swampland, okay? It's going to be highly in demand. So realizing this, the property committee thought, well, we just don't need to sell this to anyone, and it doesn't need to be sold to just for any use. It needs to be geared around residential development. We want homes built on that property. We want large homes built on that property. And I think anyone that would have the golf course as their view out their back door or their front door would pay a premium price for that particular location. So, again, it may be another year before we actually get around to the sale of that property. But we've already gone through the process to get the approval to sell it over a year ago. We listed it on your resolutions of all the properties that would be sold. The process that we're having to go through right now was we had to get Magic Valley Golf Club to agree to it. They had the lease control of that property. And part of the trade-off of that was, if you'll allow us to extract off that 32 acres, and they marked, we had to get a survey. We had to walk it several times to find out where they were okay with allowing an out-of-bounds boundary. So we did that. And that process takes a long time to do. We wanted to get those 250 parcels sold. of which all 250, I believe 252 have been sold. Even Road Grocery was one of those. We're doing things the right way, and we're doing them with a lot of due diligence and a lot of thought to this. But first things first, what we're doing tonight is deciding on whether we're going to extend the Magic Valley Golf Club agreement 10 years from their current agreement, which will take them through 2036. And as an exchange for allowing us to extract off this property for potential sale, we're going to ask them to basically take 25% and put that back in to the golf course. That is owned by the county. The golf course is. So again, I believe it's one of those win-win opportunities where they take funds and invest it in county property, ensures the value of that, maybe attracts another golfer or two, which is the quality of life here for golf, and they're a great complement to our community. So that's what the resolution is in here for, is to determine whether we want to reinvest in the county property and take that particular property and get it into the right developer's hands so that they can build residential homes. Just to give you a comparison, there's 32 acres there. If there's 20 units built up there for $150,000, that's $3 million. That produces roughly $30,000 in taxes, property taxes a year. Norwood subdivision, which is one of our premium subdivisions in Benton County, pays the county over $60,000 a year in property taxes. So even if we just are successful in marketing it to the right person and getting half of that, that's a patrol car. That is a deputy. That could be a teacher. That could be these raises that you're going to consider later on tonight. But $30,000 a year minimum estimate. That's a conservative estimate. To me, we should be applauding this creativity and leveraging basically county lands to the greatest benefit to the Benton County taxpayer and the Benton County citizen. So if there's any questions, and also no timbering. Now, we did go get a timber value. We asked Mr. Barrett to look at that property, and he valued that at roughly $600 an acre for redwood. It's not very marketable wood. My recommendation is to not timber that. And if it was going to be timbered, it would be select timbered at most. But that particular property, I say just leave the timber where it is and let that value rebuild into that parcel, and we'll see how we market it. You know, again, it may take us a year to get to the sale point, but we've got to start first things first. And that's why, again, 20 months ago, we started this. As soon as we got through with the parcel sale, we began working on the Magic Valley Golf Club, I guess you'd say, transaction. I think that's it, in case y'all have any questions.
Mr. Ferry.
Mr. Mayor, on that property sale of the joining the golf course, the money that will be supposedly gave to the golf club, are they restricted on how they can spend that and what they can spend it on?
They can only put it back into what you call capital property, meaning pretty much the land.
Okay, next question. If that property is put up for sale and some developer buys it, are there going to be restrictions that developer can't come in there and put up lean-to sheds and junk stuff like the north and south end of the county's got that hurt the property values?
It definitely will, and that's going to be the key. And that's why I say we don't want to move too fast on this. We want to make sure we have what you call covenants of sale, because before we go public, and I want all the good developers looking at this property. I mean, golf course land, but they're going to know the covenants of sale before they ever bid on it. And it's not an absolute auction. I mean, this will be a case where, again, Mr. Fraser's chairman of the property committee, he'll be involved in it. We'll have Tim Burris, we'll have Judge Whitworth, Ryan Hall, myself. We're not going to say yes to anything that's not a good deal in the county. And again, we wanted to make sure we had Magic Valley Golf Club, I guess you can say buy-in with this. We've met twice with them. They've agreed to this. And but it's part of we're going to continually look at county property that basically we have no desire to ever hold or develop. And we're going to see if we can call these off and put them forward for opportunities to begin getting taxes off. Because you know how much we're getting from all this right now? We're getting zero. We get zero. Since 1910, we have not collected 1 penny of property taxes
I think it
on
would
that property.
be better to leave the timber on the property. You go in
Yes.
and cut that, and they say, well, we're just gonna select cut it. You take skidders and timber jacks and go back and look, you'll see how select cut it was.
Yeah, we don't.
It looked like Vietnam, what it looked
Yeah,
like.
we do not want. We do not want
You
that.
can't give the property away.
What they don't cut dies.
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't want that. But again, this is to say whether you're in agreement with extending the agreement for 10 years for the current Magic Valley Golf Club, and whether you want to allow the reinvestment of 25% of the proceeds back into the golf course.
Yes, Mr. Hopper.
I'm kind of curious, we have, we own the property out there, right? The golf club, we actually own that property. They lease it from us. Do we get paid for that? Do we get paid for?
They do pay, I think it would be kind of a personal property tax. They pay on the greens. They get value from the golf course, and they actually do pay taxes to the county for the use of these greens, for the use of the property.
Well, who actually owns the country club?
Okay, the country club is a private property. I have a stake in that, Ms. Powers has a stake in it, and her partner has a stake in it. But that is a completely private property, totally unrelated to the golf course.
The property that's, the buildings that's on it is all privately owned.
Yes, it is. It sat on the market, 5 years?
So my question is, if we put money into the golf course, well, for one thing, the golf course, the country club would be nothing without the golf course. So if we put money into the golf course, that's going to benefit the country club. So my question is here, isn't that a conflict of interest?
No, because it has nothing to do with an extension of the agreement. Now, whether you want to put 25% it back into county property, it's possible you could say that doesn't look good, but there's no conflict of interest there. But secondly, we keep saying it's a country club. It's a building. It's been used as a country club in the past, but it's also been used as a bar, a beer joint, all those. In fact, the reason I wanted to purchase it was because I did not want it to become a bar or a beer joint. And so even if I had to sit on it for years, I did not want that going. But anyone who has property adjoining the golf club would benefit. And I believe we have a commissioner-elect with adjoining property to the golf course. I believe there's a couple of other landowners who have property to the golf course. Eva Road Grocery sits across the street. There's a property owner there. They all would benefit from, of course, a higher capacity of population being in that area. My thing is I want to leverage the property to its greatest degree. We've got 32 acres of wooded land that will never be developed into a golf course, and it's just going to sit there drawing zero.
I don't have a problem selling that at all. I don't have a problem at all. I just think you're putting your head in a bear trap that doesn't really need to fit there because it's an ethics thing.
He can excuse himself.
But I don't benefit from this. And
But you will.
And
Because
right.
you're owner.
Well, here's the thing. There's already a tenant for that building long before this sale ever took place. And so that particular tenant will take place in November. Had absolutely nothing to do with this particular transaction.
Whatever you put into that golf course is going to benefit that building. This so-called.
Okay, then what I would do is make an amendment to the resolution and strike that 25%, which means we'll have to go back with another agreement with the golf club. Because again, they held the upper hand because that was all one tract of property. We had to cut that particular property off to act as an incentive for them to give it up.
Well, who would be involved in negotiating this new lease?
Well, the property committee is who would negotiate the lease. The sad thing about it is we've already gone through the process of surveying it and having it extracted off. So it would be just, what do you feel like the golf course, what would be a somewhat of an equitable investment to them for what they've had to give up in that lease?
I think we should do that when we're on that resolution.
Okay.
Yeah.
Property.
Yes, go ahead, Mr. Gordon.
Mayor, I'm listening to all this. Of course, I know you and I hadn't had time to talk, and I know Mr. Fowler has a lot to say, and I would appreciate opportunity for him to have time. One of the things that I see in this resolution that I'm having, besides this, I'm having several problems with the resolution, but some of it I can live with. The extension of the contract is the one thing that sticks out to me most. I'm negotiating some contracts of government lands in other areas, and to get that kind of 10-year extension, there's an agreeable amount of money that needs to be spent in that period of time to warrant that type of extension. So I think our extension is too vast for the money that is going to be returned into the property. And I'd like to see that extension adjusted if this goes through or pulled back. And with that being said, with all the concerns, I don't know, we shouldn't look at tabling this or pulling this until some of these things can be resolved.
And I have no problem doing that and offering more discussion. But again, we've discussed this a lot. Y'all have heard all the parameters of it. Just come forth with ideas, come forth with solutions. At the end of the day, my recommendation is that we should extract out the 32 acres, put it to good use for the county citizenry so that we're gaining some type of property tax value out of it. How we want to negotiate with the golf course, the golf club, that's all that's subjective. And I would invite you to be part of that process if you want to take over that process and do it. But I do know that the golf club, we looked at what was a good amount of time for them, because a lot of these folks that are playing are retirees, and they looked at they would probably be playing a good 15 more years. If we don't grow any more golfers, the golf course will die. It will die, and eventually we'll take it back over, and y'all will use it to whatever the benefit that the county has. But there's a big golfing community out there, and they bring in a lot of tourism. They do have a huge investment out there. I think they offer a huge quality of life to our citizens. I enjoy the golf course myself, and I enjoy golfing. I think we do need to give them some type of commitment that shows them that, hey, we're going to give you enough time to do this and enjoy it until you're ready to give golfing up. But I do know that if we don't begin creating golfers, the golf course will eventually die. And part of that was to give them time to, again, improve the lands. Maybe having a subdivision might attract people to golf, more like Fairfield Glade is in Cumberland County and things.
Does our schools use that golf course? Do we have students out there practicing? They got a regular
I will
schedule?
say this, they were teaching it at one time, they had clubs
Thank
at
you.
the school, they were.
But all I'm saying is that we've gotten to this point. It's taken us 20 months to get to this point. And I'm totally fine with letting someone run with it. You know what I mean? Because y'all look to me to run with it. You know what I mean? I would prefer that someone run with it from the county commission side if you want. But two things. We got to have an agreement with the golf club. We've got to either go back to the drawing board and redraw an agreement that's amicable between the two parties, and giving them something in exchange for letting us take the 32 acres and put it to county use. And then the reinvestment part, so if you want to take that, feel free.
I'm going to move on. Roseanne, you had your hand up, please.
Yes.
And then I'm going to get the picture.
It just makes it easier when we get to that.
I know it was a year ago that pass that resolution, Mayor, how many meetings have you had since then with like Judge Whitworth and Tim Burris and Mr. Frazier about this since that last year? Have y'all met together as a group on any of this?
Initially, we probably had, 6, 7 meetings. We originally designed the strategy of what we would do with county properties, because that came, as you know, 20 months ago when we were first going through this. They have left it up to me to do the negotiation with the golf club.
So you haven't really met with them about the golf?
Well, I talk with Mr. Burris and I talk with Ryan Hall every day. Of course, I text back and forth with
And he has tried to.
and Judge Whitworth wrote the agreement. His office wrote the agreement, and they'll write it any way we want. So there's been back and forth here. But
Okay, well, and as everyone knows now, that you and Ms. Powers are partners in the building, and also Mr. Miller, Tiffany Miller, who's a realtor from Nashville. Have you disclosed that information in any of your financial statements or disclosure of interest, that you and a commissioner are partners?
well, there's not been a disclosure that would be appropriate to that type of disclosure, I don't think. And it's not county-owned property. It'd be no different than buying property anywhere in Munson County. And do I disclose that? I would disclose a loan, of which that has been disclosed.
You're along together?
Yes.
Well, okay, my next question is, I know you both bought the building some time ago. When you bought the building that was empty, what did you have planned to do with that building? What are your plans for that building?
My thing is, my personal desire is that someone will buy the building. When at the right time, right place, they'll just buy the building. I would love to be not on the building as much as I want someone who has a viable business that's going to produce good tax revenue to the county. Now, Ms. Powers and I have talked about this multiple times. And so that's why they've been soliciting a business that's probably going to move in probably in November, I think. So I'm going to let them decide whether if they are successful, hopefully they will buy the building. What I didn't want going into the old country club building is I didn't want another beer joint going in there. Okay? Because we've got enough beer joints around the county. And I believe that what I didn't want to do was harm the golf club with the wrong kind of business out there. Because that is prime area. You're near the lake, the golf course. I actually want a good tenant for that building is what my desire is.
Okay, I know the letter from Mr. Barrett states that he does not recommend to cut the timber. He says that it is too early. So I didn't really understand that. So I asked someone that is a timber cutter what that actually means. And they say that the timber is too small. Some of the timber is not selling at the right price right now, which I was told the white oak, red oak, and poplar is very low in price right now, and that it is not a good time to cut the timber. And he recommends not to do that.
Well, and that is my personal desire is not to cut the timber either.
Not any of it?
None. And it never has been. But because we had to present this, y'all have the information. The property committee will determine whether there's worth timber. If we didn't cut it, y'all would probably be saying, well, why didn't y'all go? There's $12,000 worth of timber on there. Why didn't you go do that? So again, there's $12,000 worth of timber, probably if we marketed it out. So y'all will make the decision whether you want to timber that or not.
Well, I want to make it clear, I'm not against the Matchville Golf Course. I used to play golf there myself years ago. I have a son and a grandson that plays golf out there now, and friends. So, I am not opposed to helping the golf course. I would like to see them improve the golf course and all that. It's just that, there's been some eyebrows raised as to why now, with the ownership of the building, being yours and Ms. Powers, it has raised some eyebrows. And people are saying, is there some plans in the future? Are they looking to benefit from this? So that's all the questions that are going around, and I know you're.
And those are legitimate concerns, and that's why, I guess you could say if I had a frustration, I wish the conversation would have started in my office, because a lot of these eyebrows that's being raised, to me, are being based off what I call misinformation. You know, the fact that this timber is going to be ripped and clear, clear cut, has ever been part of the conversation, but yet that's what people are talking about. They're talking about, oh, they're going to go in there and clear cut this. And I'm going, and then some of the people raising concerns and calling everybody on the county commission except for me and saying that particular person owns property next to the golf course. So there's a benefit there. You know, someone could make that argument. I look at it as those are completely isolated events. If you live around the golf course, then maybe, there's going to be a natural benefit to that, to have a neighborhood go up. At the end of the day, what drove this entire endeavor was we've got a corner lot in a prime commercial location on 641 in a major intersection. I mean, look at it that way. That the county has sat on since 1910 and decided to not put it to use. I believe that now, if we were going to use that property, I'd say I totally understand, let's keep it in our inventory. But that property will never be used. I want the taxpayers benefiting off of that. And roughly it's going to be $30,000, $32,000, $35,000 a year income to your property tax coffers.
Well, Mr. Vickers next. Let's get on out there. We'll get when we come into the resolution. We ain't even got there yet.
Well, we should have been a lot said here tonight about this development. And I just want to say and ask every commissioner here, as well as Commissioner-elect, not to keep your eye on the ball right there. What I mean by that is we have the opportunity in Benton County with the sale of this property eventually to develop one of the most premier residential areas in the state of Tennessee that rivals Fairfield Lake. And the tax revenue it'll bring in, the tax monies are going to be tremendous for us. And we're talking about monies as far as real estate, we're talking about plumbing, heating, electrical, putting our local people to work, and the beautification and transformation of a major area of the 4th District.
Thank you, Victor. Ms. Person, go ahead. You're going to have to wait a little bit. Ms. Person, I'm fixing to move out of this and go in the resolution.
I want a 5-minute break, please.
And turn the heat up.
Yeah, turn the heat up. 5-minute break.
5-minute break. We'll be back. Come on.
Can we move on?
Need
A week ago, still said county on, but I gotta get some
God, you need to come up here and preach to all these people. We'd have a lot of cheaper light bill we had in 77. Mine's 72. You need heat all year round, don't you? Fur, what do you think about it? What do you think about Gary? Gary Fur. What do you think about it?
Heated up, didn't it?
All right, let's go. 5 minutes. COVID-19 coming on.
I wouldn't get too much at one time.
Okay, we call this back to order now.
Hey, Mr. Donovan.
Angie, y'all still there? Rochelle?
I got a good idea.
All right, take it long. We just had a long brief. All righty. We're back to order at this time. Line item 9. Need a motion to approve the minutes. Ms. Dana, Ms. Jenny Higgins, second. All in favor? Aye. Aye. No noes? Yeah, I need a roll call.
Diana Ferguson. Kenneth Miller. Kenneth Miller.
What are we voting on?
Approval of the minutes.
Yes.
Rocky Preston. Leah Dye.
Yes.
Norman Frazier.
Yes.
Gary Fur.
Yes.
Sonny Hall.
Yes.
Bill Melton.
Yes.
Doug Bickers.
Yes.
Rochelle Hill.
Yes.
Janet Higgins.
Yes.
Roseanne Ward.
Yes.
Darrell Hicks.
Yes.
Ronnie Hopper.
Yes.
Mary Powers.
Yes.
Angie Hearn.
Yes.
John Patton.
Yes.
Ward Plant.
Yes.
Anyone wish to change their vote?
Motion carried. Line item 10, report of the public utility. Have a motion. Ms. Janet, let's see. Ms. Powers. Roll call.
Dana Ferguson.
Yeah.
Kenneth Miller.
Ms. Kent.
Rocky Preston.
Yes.
Leah Dye.
Yes.
Norman Frazier.
Yes.
Gary Fur.
Yes.
Sonny Hall.
Yes.
Bill Melton.
Yes.
Doug Bickers.
Yes.
Rochelle Hill.
Yes.
Janet Higgins.
Yes.
Roseanne Ward. Yes. Darrell Hicks.
Yes.
Ronnie Hopper.
Yes.
Mary Powers.
Yes.
Angie Hearn.
Yes.
John Patton.
Yes.
Ward Plant.
Yes.
Anyone wish to change their vote?
Motion carries. Line item 11. We've discussed very well. Resolution to give the county mayor permission to conduct a sale by the county-owned property located at South 641 to the East 911 District at a fair or mutual agreement upon value where the proceeds from the sale of the property will be applied directly to construction of the Benton County Emergency Management EMA building.
Motion.
Motion by
Frazier.
Frazier, second by Hicks.
Right here.
Pattinson, second. Take roll call.
Discussion.
Discussion, any discussion?
I got a,
Hill, fifth district.
Go ahead, Ms. Hill.
The only part of the resolution I question is the second paragraph where it says, at a fair market or mutually agreed upon value. That leaves a lot of room for variance.
I think it was in the resolution we've written up the amount, is it, Mayor? Wasn't it 50,000 that would be put back?
Well, I would say to Commissioner Hill that that is why the fair market language is in there. But as we were saying, that we've got a roughly 6 acre tract of land, of which only 2 is developable. So that does change somewhat of the equation. So I've talked with the Mr. Ryan Hall, the property assessor. He has assessed the 2 good acres at roughly $20,000 an acre, and pretty much the other 4 remaining acres, there wasn't anything to really price other than we say, look, they've got an offer on the table right now for a little from a competitor, and at $52,000. So I feel like if we could offer them 6 acres for $50,000, it is to the county's best interest to go ahead and be, rid ourselves of that property and help them out in their endeavor. That's why that mutually agreed upon value statement is in there. It allows a little flexibility to be able to negotiate. But we've done our due diligence.
You satisfied with the answer?
Oh, I guess since there was no dollar amount as far as what the fair market value was, I was just curious as to what money dollars that was looking at.
Roughly $50,000, what he's looking at.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, Miss.
All right, is that the map? That's supposed to be this map?
Yes.
Is this landlocked?
No.
No.
It's got Highway 641 runs along that. That's the state right-of-way that runs along the edge of it.
Well, mine doesn't show that little.
You may have a different page in there, Miss Dana. Look,
That's what was drawn out by the property assessor, and when they went on site and did the survey, they determined of that tract, that is what is the developable portion of it.
Well, how did you get to it?
Right off the road, there's a drive right there where that red
Yep.
portion is touching.
Go
the
past
house.
Devon's Clinic, that first little road to the right that goes in the wood. Barry?
If you'll look at the picture up on the screen, if you'll notice the red box there, the red lines, it's going out towards 641. That's a drive that goes into the property off of 641 South, just north of the railroad tracks. If that helps.
Before we get to the bridge. So I got a question. For,
yes.
if the pink part is unusable land, you're saying,
It's not conducive to development without sinking some money in there and leveling it out. Their desire is only to do that one box. All that pink portion is land that they'll get with the parcel,
Well,
but if they want to develop it, they're going to have to spend money doing
that
it.
road going into it, is that gonna belong to the EMA or, because that's gonna landlock that?
They're buying the whole thing, the pink, everything in pink.
Yeah, that's technically, what you say is landlocked, that's really just the state right-of-way portion. And sometimes these maps aren't drawn specific, but the state of Tennessee owns so much land off of that particular,
Be able to make it a 4-lane highway.
Well, I guess I'm not explaining myself, because that whole square there, pink, and everything, they're gonna buy that?
Yes.
The
Yes.
whole thing?
Yes.
Not just the 1.6?
right, but they're going to develop the 1.6 for their
Okay.
Let me clarify that help. It might be easier if I just explain. So if you remember, we had a project where 911 and the county were going to work together and do a joint EMA 911 building project. Well, when that kind of fell by the wayside back in June, we had to start exploring other properties. This is a property that we looked at for the location of the EMA 911 building joint project before we settled on the location of the industrial park. So I revisited this for 911. Because this is inside the city limits, we have certain restrictions on what we can do as far as tower height and certain things like that. So we looked at this property about buying the entire piece of property, because what it'll do is allow us to locate a tower on the property that will still fall within our boundaries, because inside the city limits, the tower cannot fall outside of your parcel boundary. So this gives us enough flexibility to grow up high enough to get coverage from a radio communications tower if we end up deciding to go a little bit taller. The problem is, for the building, the only part of it that we can actually develop and put a building on is the section that's there, the 1.6 to 2 acres there. And our engineers told us that we're probably looking at anywhere from $70,000 to $80,000 to get the land to the point just to be able to build a building on it in that section. The pink area that you see to the north there, that's actually in the floodplain. So we technically by law can't do anything in that area anyway. But because we buy the extra property, it allows us to still build a tower that would fall within our property. So we still kind of get a benefit from the land, even though we can't do anything with it.
Other than parking or?
Well, we can't even do parking in that area. Like, we can't do anything with that area right there, because essentially outside of the drive that accesses 641, everything goes at a 50 to 60 foot drop straight down the hill, going back to the floodplain on the northern part of the property. And I do want to add too that we
1 second, please.
Just because y'all agree to allow the mayor the flexibility to sell it for 50, there's no guarantee that 911's going to buy it either, because we do have another piece of property that's being considered, and the 911 board will have to vote on both sets of property to decide which one they want to buy. So I don't want y'all to think that 911's all in just yet either. That's ultimately up to the 911 board, not myself.
Go ahead, Rochelle.
Question for Mr. Whipple. If 911 purchases this property, the placement of a 911 center will be at their expense and not the taxpayers of our county budget, correct?
Correct. The building is going to be solely funded by 911.
Thank you.
Okay, any further discussion? If not, have a roll call.
Dana Ferguson. Yes. Kenneth Miller.
Yes.
Roger Preston.
Yes.
Leah Dye.
Yes.
Norman Frazier.
Yes.
Gary Fur.
Yes.
Sonny Hall.
Yes.
Bill Melton.
Yes.
Doug Vickers.
Yes.
Michelle Hill.
Yes.
Janet Higgins.
Yes.
Roseanne Ward.
Yes.
Darrell Hicks.
Yes.
Ronnie Hopper.
Yes.
Mary Powers.
Yes.
Angie Hearn.
Yes.
Don Patton.
Yes.
Ward Plan.
Yes.
Anyone wish to change their vote?
Motion carries. On item 12, resolution budgeting fund to receive an amount of $218.14 within the senior citizen budget.
Motion.
Have a motion by Dana, second by Fur. Have roll call, please. Any discussion? No discussion? Roll call.
Dana Ferguson.
Yes.
Kenneth Miller.
Yes.
Roger Preston.
Yes.
Leah Dye.
Yes.
Norman Frazier.
Yes.
Gary Fur.
Yes.
Sonny Hall.
Yes.
Bill Middleton.
Yes.
Doug Vickers.
Yes.
Rochelle Hill.
Yes.
Janet Higgins.
Yes.
Roseanne Ward.
Yes.
Darrell Hicks.
Yes.
Ronnie Hopper.
Yes.
Mary Powers.
Yes.
Angie Hearn.
Yes.
Don Patton.
Yes.
Ward Plan.
Yes.
Anyone wish to change their vote?
Motion carries. Line item 13, resolution to give county mayor permission to move forward with entering an agreement with the Magic Valley Golf and Country Club and Company and to move forward with the development of the unused portion of the county-owned land located at 2254 Eva Road, Camden, Tennessee.
Mr. Chairman,
Discussion.
I'm gonna pull this. I think it's in the best interest. I think what the concerns that Commissioner Hopper brought and Commissioner Ward brought, it doesn't look good, the fact that I'm an owner of the property that's adjacent to this. It doesn't look good. It was a completely unrelated transaction. But I think Ms. Powers and I, because we both own this, that we need to look at some options. I do say that I do believe we need to pursue this, and so I want everyone thinking. I want you putting your thinking caps on as to what we can do with this property, that we can really put it to the best use for the citizens. We have budgeted the anticipation of a sale in this budget year, but I need to get out of this. I mean, I do not need to be a property owner up there if this is going to take place. It just does not look good. But I would say I endorse the fact that we take proceeds from the sale and, like I say, compensatory to the Magic Valley Golf Club, because they came to the table. They came to the table with an agreement to allow us to extract this. I do believe them kind of recouping 25% of whatever sale would take place is just. And the way we would word that agreement, they have to put it back into property. So they're not necessarily paying a salary. They're not buying supplies. They are putting it back into county property. But before we go forward with bringing this resolution back, I need to get out of it. I mean, it just, like I said, it doesn't look good. I'll let Ms. Powers decide whether you want to stay in it or not or whatever, but I can just say that I'm going to back out before we proceed further with this resolution. So I'd like to pull it. And we can keep the discussion going.
Yeah, I don't have a problem selling that property. I just kind of have a problem with the way it's working.
Go ahead, Ms. O'Hara.
After what you just said, Mayor Lashley, and I know you support the sale of the land because of the developing it and making money and helping the golf course. So after what you just said, would you consider selling out of that building, selling your part of that building?
That's what I just said. I mean, I'm getting out. I want out of that particular piece of property. I feel confident that these new tenants might be interested in it, and that's all I was wanting was a good tenant. I want a good business, a good taxpayer for Benton County in that building, because we haven't been getting it. That building's been vacant for many years and not producing anything.
Mr. Hicks.
I don't oppose selling the land either, but when it comes up again, I would like to see a plan, because that property is landlocked. Where is the drive going to be?
Davis Road, if you'll look on the back of that.
Okay, that's the road on the side. That's like through a swamp straight up a hill. I mean, is that going to be feasible? That's what I'm wondering. We need to get somebody to look at it to see, is that going to be...
I don't want us to look at it. I want a developer to look at it.
That's what I mean. I don't mean us.
I think where there's a will, there's a way, and I think a developer that sees the value in that, they'll go in there and...
But for a commission, I'd like to see the plan on where it could be.
Mayor.
And everything.
Go ahead.
Something I ain't had time to share with you, and we just missed the window in the last 60 days for that property to qualify as a premier resort. It does follow in the Tennessee Resort District Act, and that's something we missed. Henry County applied for one. I was over in East Tennessee. You would not believe how many people got approved for some of the stupidest stuff to be under the Tennessee River Resort District stuff. So this is something that we stumbled on this particular go around that went through legislation in the last 60 days. So let's try to look forward for something like that for another endeavor in our county, please.
Thank you. All right, let's move on out of this to line item 14. Resolution for local government participation in electronic monitoring for indigency fund. Need a motion? Motion by Dana. Second?
Second.
By Mr. Hicks. Any discussion?
Yes.
Ms. Dana?
What's it gonna cost?
There should be a copy of the contract, but it's a lot of it is a lot like that mental health evaluation services that we get, that if someone were, I guess you can say sentenced, maybe the sheriff or the county attorney may know this better, but if a judge were to sentence someone to monitoring, electronic monitoring, that we get whatever the state rate is on it. So whatever it is, it's better than what we would be having to pay if we don't opt for this resolution. You know, just like mental health, we pay $450 an hour for the mental
I
health.
can't hear what you
evaluation.
said, Mayor. Take that off your mouth.
We pay $450, thank you there, Mr. Patton, an hour for the mental health. But if we did not opt for that contract, which we've got that, y'all will be seeing that probably next month, is that we would pay like $1,000 an hour, $1,250 an hour. So this monitoring is the same.
I know, but what is it? You know.
I thought we included the resolution in here.
I don't have the 04.
I do not. Fine.
I do not have it either.
You know, I'd like to know.
Yeah, I'd like to know what it monitors.
$500 per person, or are we paying $100 per
No,
person? I mean, you know.
It's less than $500, I believe.
Yes. Go ahead, Ms. Hill.
My question is this an alternative to a person being incarcerated?
Mayor, can you answer that? Ms. Hill's question is this retains a man from being incarcerated? Alternative not being incarcerated.
That's me.
Somebody, I don't know who'd answer that.
I didn't know if you was asking me or not.
Did you hear what she asked?
Yes, when the judge orders it, sometimes it will say if there's a medical issue or something like that, or they're off at home, or for whatever reason he deems, if he allows them to have an ankle monitor. What they've done before is went through the bonding companies, and the bonding companies issues that out to the individual, and then he charges them just like he would for making a bond. Charges them so much per day for an ankle monitor.
Roughly.
I have no idea what it's called. We stay out of that, between you and the bond company.
Yeah. I hate trying to vote on something when we don't have a price on it.
And I'm not sure there's a set price on
I
this.
think it's what it is this is something that you're going to be paying anyway. This is opting into the state program, which you actually get a discount rate, whatever it is, it is a set rate.
Yeah, and usually we know what state rate is.
It's offering a 50% discount. If I read this correctly.
Chairman, question?
Go ahead, Ms. Hill.
Okay, how many people do we have that require electronic monitoring? I'm not aware of any. So why are we paying to be a part of a program that we don't have people being sentenced to this?
I think they're seeing him for forward with this, that the COVID-19, if something happens, you know, if people have to leave the jail or whatnot, that they're trying to produce a procedure for. I don't know, but that's what I assume. That in the future.
We don't have anybody in the county that works an ankle monitor for probation or anything?
You won't have, this commission will have control, it's just gonna happen on a basis.
Just
when it
say it
happens.
happens.
Y'all won't know about it until well after the fact. And the way I read this is it doesn't cost anything to be a part of the program. So if you don't have any, it doesn't cost, this is just the percentage of cost to be in the program, whereas if you were paying privately, it would cost more. But if you want to wait to find out what the actual rate is, I don't know what to tell you. I guess, find out.
And we didn't, again, this is the drawback of not being able to go to the committee meetings this month. But this came from the comptroller and the treasurer of Tennessee, you know, because they want to ensure that these counties are probably looking ahead and not paying the premium bills on this. And so that in a way, it's a protective element financially for us. But we don't know what the future holds either. I mean, you may begin seeing more and more sentencing of ankle monitoring or whatever, you know, to reduce the overcrowding in prisons with the COVID-19. There may be something that we're not totally aware of. I think I've emailed this over to Commissioner Hill, I'm not sure, to review, because we got this from the comptroller's office and the state treasurer's office. So I think they're looking at, they want these counties to be prepared financially, that they don't want us paying the premium bills should this be a trend that we begin seeing in the future.
I can see this being used in the hospital, Mayor, in the event of this pandemic, so we don't have to have an officer sitting at the hospital during all this.
But you still be required to have an officer there at both of the hospitals.
No, he's talking, it's quarantined, I think, sure.
Okay,
Home with the monitors, to make sure they stay home.
we've had a discussion. Is everybody ready to take a vote on it?
I'd like to know price.
I don't think we need this, Mayor.
Well, you're more than happy to vote it down. I mean, I just presented to y'all what was presented to me.
It's more or less just the state looking ahead for what they're doing on this COVID. If somebody just says you had COVID real bad, they can't stick you in that jail and give everybody that. They'd have the option to sustain you at home, and this is what it's about. It's just accountability when it does hit.
What is the electronic monitoring for?
That's what it's about. It's to know where you're at. If you're a criminal and you committed a crime and you had COVID.
Yeah, well, you know what? I've heard something about this before. A guy was talking to me, and he talked to a lawyer, and they was putting monitors on people's legs while they was out on waiting to go to court. And he said that had been went through the that had been rejected in the higher court, that they was unlawful.
Yeah, this is being requested, so I don't know.
How about I pull this, because again,
he don't need nothing.
This is a casualty of us not having preliminary discussion.
All right, let's get back to order.
Just go second. This, the way I read this resolution, this doesn't cost the county anything if you pass it. This only thing it does is it allows you to participate in a program with the state of Tennessee, which is why the state is.
I can't hear you.
This doesn't, if you pass this, it doesn't cost you anything. What this does is allows the county, if this comes up, it allows the county to get a cheaper rate, which is why the state sent it to the counties to pass, because they're going to share the cost with you, so to save the county money. So that
That was my question.
Okay, so that's answered. You understand now, Mr. Patton? It saves the county money, what they're trying to do. It's nothing, it ain't gonna cost us nothing.
I tell you what, this is just something that somebody wants to get rich off of out here across the street, putting bracelets on people that get out on bond. Now, that's against the law.
Now, this is from the state.
How about we do this? Hey, Mr. President, how about we do this? Haste makes waste. And so this has not been properly discussed. Again, the casualty of us not being able to have the former committee meeting. Let me just pull it for a month. Let's do our work. Let's do some due diligence. Email me whatever questions and concerns that you have, and I'll send that up to the treasurers and get some response from that side. It's not going to hurt us to hold another month on this particular.
That's good. I'm going to move us on so we get a
I
resolution.
tell you what, I make a motion that we either
It's been
table
pulled.
this.
It's been pulled, Mr. Patton. It's been pulled.
I'd like to look at it more before we vote
Okay,
on it.
resolution 14's been pulled. Now, line item 15. Resolution appropriating funds in the amount of $53,951 from the unassigned fund balance within the county general fund in order to provide full salary paid county employees on fall under the courthouse handbook, a $1,200 gross salary pay increase.
Motion.
Second.
I have a motion, Ms. Dana, second, Ms. Powers.
Mr. Chairman.
Any discussion?
Can I address this?
Please, Mr. Field.
Question has been raised as to why this was not done during the budget process. During the budget process, it was looked at, but as we got down closer to the end, the state had not given a raise, and we did not know what our numbers were going to be until right before we took a vote, which was very close to the required time of July 1st to have the budget done. At that time, we did have unassigned funds that would allow us to do this resolution and the supplement pay resolution without having to go into any reserve money or any, let me rephrase that, to any unassigned funds that we hadn't already collected, or that, that we would have problems with, because we were in the black to this amount. So this is not, it's new money in the sense that it went into the unassigned fund balance and it's coming back out of the unassigned fund balance, so it's considered new money in that respect, but it's money that we had that was not assigned at the time the budget was passed.
Understand? Everybody understand that? Yes, Mr. Topper. Oh, 1 minute, please. Go ahead, Mr. Topper.
I just got a question. We just give Ashley a big raise not long ago, and now we're gonna give her $1,200 more. I don't think that's quite right with the people that's getting these raises. That's just my opinion. If we can work that out, I don't think it's not time for her to get another raise.
Mr. Victor.
No, there's me.
Oh, go ahead.
I just wanted to say, I appreciate how hard you worked on it too, to get that. But I feel with Mr. Hopper, when I've asked 3 years, that I appreciate what y'all done on that, because the girls do deserve that. But I feel the same with the ones who already got their raise, are gonna get this on top as well. I just wanted to say that, after asking and being put down, and then others getting their raises on every board or whatever, I feel the same way.
My question, does that refer back to the budget committee or what on that? He's saying that Miss Ashley, in this proposal, or that contention, actually giving her 2 raises in a year. That she shouldn't be getting the $1,200 on top of what she just got.
Anyone that falls within the group or the category of a salaried employee that comes under the courthouse handbook as of July 1st, 2020 would be included in this. And that is also, that is the same for the salary supplement. You would receive that based on the number of years you have been employed as of July 1st, 2020.
I don't have a problem with that. It's just that we just gave her a big fat raise. And now we're gonna turn around and give her another real big raise. And I love Miss Ashley to death, but no, I think we're stretching, I think we're causing a problem here with the rest of the employees. So I think we need to back off of hers. Nobody else's but hers. We need to reassess that.
Mr. Victor.
I'm going to stand in support strongly as far as Ashley is concerned. And the reason I am is because the knowledge that she has of the finances of Benton County comes in here and does an absolutely outstanding job. And the issue is not whether she gets 1 or 2 raises a year. The issue is how much are her services worth to Benton County, and do you want to keep them? Now, cut her money off and she can go to Dixon in the morning. I guarantee you. She's one of the most valuable people that we've got in Benton County government. She deserves the raise. She makes $40-something thousand a year. I'll go on the record and she's underpaid right now.
I'm sorry, but I feel my employees are the same way, but Ashley does a great job at what she does, but I feel my employees are the same way too.
Okay.
They've been in the office when they're lined out the doors like they always do, and I've asked for 3 years.
Miss Hill, I'm gonna let you come in.
I would like to ask the budget committee, who decided to make the distinction, employees who fall under the courthouse handbook instead of all county employees? Why are the employees who fall under that handbook more valuable than all the employees at the sheriff's office or the jail?
I would respond that last year, the sheriff's department evidently was more valuable than the courthouse employees because they, because they got a substantial raise. This raise would be about 5.7%.
Chairman.
For the lowest paid
Okay, go ahead, Mr. Fields, you want to answer that?
I do not remember the budget committee saying that all employees would receive the same raises. The intent of the commission, I believe, last year did not go along with what actually happened within the sheriff's and the jail department as to the raises being given.
All righty,
Chair.
Mr. Rocky.
Rochelle, responding to what you said, I'm going to ask you to consider going forward with this resolution. Phil, correct me, is it 39 or 40 county employees we're talking about?
About 41 or 42.
Let's get these 41 county workers a raise, taken care of, let's then sit down and talk about a raise for the sheriff department and the jailers. We can't do them all tonight. The conversation's already started. You've got commissioners in this room considering resolutions that will sponsor a raise for both jail and the sheriff. I ask you to please consider this resolution as you sit there and listen to everything. Now I've got a statement to make. Without the effort of these 41 county workers, it would be impossible for our department heads to fulfill their responsibilities. These employees are a major integral part of this working government. They're loyal, they're trustworthy, they're hardworking, and they're deserving. Truly, they're the backbone of our county government. Many, if not all, perform multiple tasks in timely manners at a pay scale less than what their efforts are worth. None of us commissioners should object to properly compensating these trusted, valuable employees. Most of us commissioners have been blessed to work jobs for spouses to work jobs that pay very, very good. It would be a shame to elect to continue to pay our county employees at a financial rate we all know to be less than adequate in helping meet family needs. In closing, a lot of time and a lot of effort has gone into this resolution. A lot of preparation for this resolution. And it wasn't me, it wasn't the mayor, it wasn't the chairman. It was one person that probably don't even care who takes credit for this resolution. In fact, he didn't even put his name at the top. He shared it with the entire budget committee. But the person that put the most effort into this work is sitting here, and I want to thank Phil Melton for your time and effort, what you've done. I yield the floor.
Ms. Dana.
First of all, the sheriff's department falls under a totally different category, and we have to think that through. They are civil service. We don't set that. They are different. The school's different. The only ones that we can do are the ones who are in the county handbook. And we know that they don't make enough money.
Thank you, Ms. Furley. Mr. Mayor,
Well, I was just going to say, again, I applaud Commissioner Melton's efforts in this. He's worked 2 years on this, but getting back to the history of this, last year our focus was the sheriff's department. We knew that we had problems there, and really all these are competitive adjustments. You know, we're not paying people on merit or anything. These are competitive adjustments because the price of goods and services in our community keep going up, but the salaries don't go up commensurate to that. So last year we focused on the sheriff's department just to get the ball rolling. We projected 10% raises for the sheriff's department. It didn't exactly come out to that, but it came out close. And just to give you an idea of what this raise is about a 4% raise for an employee making $28,000. So this is not out of the ordinary to bring them up to a different level. Why is Ashley included or not included? Well, we treated all employees, like I said, Mr. Melton said, all county employees under this handbook. Let's just make it easy. They all deserve. Last year's move to redefine the job duties or the job responsibilities for Ashley Travis had absolutely nothing to do with raises or anything like that. Or this particular raise. It was to bring her up to a competitive level, which is still far below where her skills are marketable. I have county mayors, I will not mention their name, who call me to ask if they can talk to Ms. Travis. And they're offering anywhere from $53,000 to $59,000 for her services. At that time, she was making $31,000. So just bringing her up to $42,500 was simply a competitive move to ensure she was not hired away. And we already know that her services are still worth considerably more. So the $1,200 is really one employee is equal to, let's give them all an equal adjustment. However, I do know Ashley. She does not want to stop to train on behalf of herself. If you feel like you want to exclude her from the raise, then make an amendment to this resolution. I would hope that we wouldn't, that we would still just go across the board. We can afford this. This is where your hard work came in last year. You did a great job as a legislative body. We put together the best budget or the most monumental budget that we put together possibly in 20 years. You came in the black. You found monies to be able to pay for these particular raises. You did your hard work to afford this. My recommendation is to move forward with it and let's be done. If we want to argue what one person's worth over another, that's a totally different argument. But Mr. Melton worked hard and he made it easy for us. If you're a full-time employee as of July 1st of this year, everybody's adjusted $1,200. And I'm sure there's going to be some positions that still aren't commensurate to their particular competitive salary. But you got to start somewhere. And this is a start.
Okay. Mr. Sonny, I'm going to let you speak one time, then we're going to take a vote. Go ahead.
Are all the,
Chairman,
One moment, please. Go
are
ahead.
all the sheriff employees of the sheriff's department, are they all under civil service?
Yes,
All your employees are under civil service?
all except for the secretary and the cook.
But did they get a raise? Will they be under what they're talking about, because they're not civil service?
No one in the sheriff's department is involved in this.
Sure, Mr. Sonny? Okay. Yes, go ahead, Ms. Ashley.
Mayor, you hit the nail on the head by saying that you know me, I would not want myself in my position to prevent this resolution from going forward. My position changed last year and my salary increased. First off, I did not ask for that increase. So I just want to make that point clear to everyone in that room. Secondly, like I told several of the county employees, I would like to line everyone up, and if they were offered this same position, title change, more responsibilities, trust me, I can barely keep up with it as it is, and a salary increase, how many would turn it down? None, okay? None would. Thirdly, if anyone would like to have had my position, they can always submit an application or a resume for it. But even during this resolution, when Ms. Gail Norton and I had worked really closely with the budget committee and Phil on all the information and details that he needed, doing his research, I even specifically brought to Mr. Nelson's attention, surely this would not include me. And when he said it would include all county courthouse employees, I made the comment then, oh my gosh, I can only hear what's going to come up from this. Because no one needs anything more than the other. No one deserves more than the other. It's a mindset and a cultural change that needs to take place within our entire workplace and environment. But I in no way, shape, or form did I expect it. Do I expect it? And I do not want me being a hot topic that I think to be tonight, prevent this resolution from going forward and our county employees there at the courthouse from not getting a salary increase or longevity pay or anything that they are due. I just want to make that clear.
Thank you, Miss Ashley. Okay, everybody. Miss Ashley, you've done spoke. I'm fixing to take a vote on it, gal. I think that way, I've got one more here to speak, but after she speaks, we're going to vote.
I would like to say that I am in support of this resolution, and I thank Mr. Melton.
Ms. Roseanne speaking.
Because I know that there's a lot of hard work goes into preparing this. And second, I want to say that there is not one employee in this courthouse that is any more needed or any more, I don't know the word to say, that is, what?
Appreciate it.
Appreciated, and that their work is any better or any harder, because I know for myself, I've worked in 2 different offices up here, and I know that there's a lot of responsibility in every one of those offices. I mean, I don't want to call any names, but like in Wanda's office, I know there's a big responsibility over there. I mean, she's in charge of a lot, not just Wanda, but those girls, and even in Mr. Rainwater's office. So not one employee is any better than the other. Their job duties may be different, but the responsibility and what goes along with it is just as important as anybody else's.
All righty, everybody.
I'd like to say something too.
Miss Mary, you're biting the bullet. Come on.
Ashley,
You've not spoken. I'm going to let you speak.
On Ashley's behalf, because she's not really being paid what she's worth, like the mayor says. And being on the budget committee, I can't imagine going through the budget process without her. And with breaking in a new person to do that job that doesn't have the history. They have the knowledge of the history. And it's just, there's just no price you can put on the help she gives us.
Thank you.
And I'll just say, as y'all know, we're starting to get there. We've made a lot of strides in the last 2 years. We have hired a HR consulting firm to get our handbooks right. We are moving in the right direction to begin identifying these employee structures, employee descriptions, job descriptions, pay raises, all that. That's an ongoing process. It's not going to end this year. We're going to look at it again next year, the year after. I think it's getting better. On behalf of, or to address Ashley's complaints of being overworked, I say take that up with the mayor. And but I call it progress, and I'm proud of the girls. The busier they are in my office, I call it progress. So she'll just have to put up with it. So.
All righty, gentlemen. I think we've had enough.
Thank you, because you have worked really hard and been in the office constantly around to everybody trying to get this like it is, and I want to say thank you too. But I also want to say, I don't know where we draw the line of one office thinking that somebody, that's where this has all come, where I feel like when I ask for my raises, I feel like they really deserve them too. And there's not anyone that's really come in here that says about how blinds are blind out of the office and how hard they work, but we were turned down for the raises. That's where I'm coming from, because I feel like they deserve it. If you go by what each county makes, if you're going to go by what board makes this in this county, look at Humphreys County compared to what our county folks make. They would laugh at us, and they did laugh at us in Henry County. But I just want to tell you, I still feel that I want to thank you, Phil, and I still feel that I'd like to bring that back up about the raises with mine, because I don't think one office is any better than the other, like Roseanne said.
I'd like to just say one thing before I take the vote. I've watched this budget committee, and I've watched several of them. I would call a name, but I'm afraid somebody that every one of them has been more concerned in what salary for this county, for the people. And I'm just proud of what they're doing, and I assure you, even though this is taking place today, that they're not through. I mean, they're going to look. I want us all to make what they are, A and B, and we be in the middle right there with it. I don't think we should be the lowest, maybe not the highest, but I think we should pay wages that people can support and live by. Saying that, I'm going to ask you at this time to let's take a roll call on the vote, either yes or no.
Dana Ferguson? Yes. Kenneth Miller?
Yes.
Robert Preston?
Yes.
Leah Dye?
Yes.
Norman Frazier?
Yes.
Jerry Byrd?
Yes.
Sonny Hall?
Yes.
Bill Melton?
Yes.
Doug Bickers?
Yes, 3 times.
Rochelle Hill?
Yes.
Janet Higdon.
Yes.
Roseanne Ward.
Yes.
Darrell Hicks.
Yes.
Ronnie Hopper.
Yes.
Mary Powers.
Yes.
Angie Hearn.
Yes.
Don Patton.
Yes.
Ward Plan.
Yes.
Anyone wish to change their vote?
Motion carried. Line item 16, resolution appropriate fund in the amount of $30,788 from the unassigned fund balance in the county general in order to provide full-time salaries paid county employees who falls under the courthouse handbook, a $50 per full-time year of service longevity supplement. We have a motion by Ms. Dana, second by Ms. Dix. Any discussions? If no discussion,
Right here.
Ms. Hill, yes, go ahead.
I wasn't able to make this comment on the last resolution, but it still applies. Please do not think that I do not support both of these resolutions fully for our courthouse employees. My only objection is that we are separating county employees into two separate groups, whereas I see them as one big happy family. That's all.
Thank you. Mr. Rocky.
Yeah, Chairman, I'll make it quick. During the course of our county employees' careers, all the employees have had other opportunities to work for other companies at higher wages. However, they chose to stay with this county, and that's called loyalty. They have stayed, some for many years, in no small part because of their vested desire and to help our county function at its highest levels. These county employees have maintained their performance while taking on even more work tasks. These dedicated, reliable employees have been a gift to this county. They have proven their commitment to this county. Let's prove our commitment to these employees. I yield the floor.
Chair.
Yes, sir. Mr. Thornton, right.
This has been on my heart on this a little bit. You know, we've discovered that we have a pension plan for our employees. I see here where it says, we're writing a check in a separate check and payroll item. I don't know that I wouldn't like to amend that and give them an option to put it in their pension plan since it's paying 4.7%. That's a pretty good return. If the employees, I know it's Christmas time and everybody's gonna need money, but we shouldn't close the door on that opportunity for them to put that in their pension plan. So I'd like to make a motion for an amendment to include on a separate check and or pension plan from the regular payrollers, however you ask them.
Let's ask Miss Ashley, can that be done? Miss Ashley, did you understand that?
No, sir, can you please repeat the question, Commissioner Fraser?
Yes, ma'am. Mr. Fraser is asking the longevity pay of $50 per year.
The fourth paragraph is saying how we're going to pay out. It says November 2020 on a separate check from regular payroll. I'd like to include the option to put that in their pension plan and whatever wording is necessary.
Could that be?
Option to put that into their retirement?
Yes, ma'am.
If they decided to.
Okay.
Could that be done?
I would assume I'd have to talk with PCRS and see how to do that. We've never had made another contribution above their percentage rate. So I'm sorry. This is Lord Ruster. Can I speak to that for this moment?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Your retirement plan is a defined benefit plan, which means it does not matter how much you put in it. You're going to get the exact same amount out every time. What?
So you're saying it would be fair, they could actually put the money more to it or whatever?
Well, that's just put it in there, but you will not increase what that's law at retirement. The state is required to give a defined benefit plan. Well, that's why the state tells you how much to put in percentages each year. They tell you how much to put in to make sure to fund it, because the amount you're going to get at retirement is like 7 months.
finance advisor.
Which is correct, because our rate does fluctuate annually.
So it wouldn't be no value if I didn't put that in there, Norman. So we're with,
There's zero benefit to add that to your return.
And I withdraw them and
thank you.
We need to do something for our employees then on their, pension. Because they should be able to put money in their pension that helps them out when they retire.
So that needs to
So
come in
that
another
needs to be-
resolution.
That needs to be looked at if we have to do something else.
Thank you.
That's a totally different.
That's a total, we'll bring that back.
Talk about.
Okay, is any more questions on it? If not, I'm gonna ask to take a vote.
Dana Ferguson,
Yes.
Kenneth Miller,
Yes.
Rocky Preston.
Yes.
Leah Dyke,
Yes.
Norman Frazier,
yes.
Gary Fur,
Yes.
Sonny Hall,
Yes.
Bill Melton,
Yes.
Doug Vickers,
Yes.
Michelle Hill,
Yes.
Janet Higgins,
Yes.
Roseanne Ward,
Yes.
Harold Hicks,
Yes.
Ronnie Hopper,
Yes.
Mary Powers,
Yes.
Angie Hearn,
Yes.
Don Patton,
Yes.
Ward Plan.
Yes.
Anyone wish to change their vote?
Motion carries there. Line item 17, resolution to appropriate funds in the amount of $4,937.35 from the unassigned fund balance within the county general fund in order to pay outstanding invoice of Benton County, order 20-003, received by the Barrett Group.
Motion.
I have a motion by Dana,
Second.
second by Ms. Pires. Any discussion? If no discussion,
District,
go ahead, Ms. Hill.
do we not normally pay the Barrett Group after we collected the revenue?
Yes.
Yes, I think they've received it.
Okay, we did receive it. That wasn't clear in the resolution.
Now, I said I think they have. Huh?
Says outstanding.
Okay. Anything further? If not, I'm going to ask the roll call.
Dana Ferguson,
Yes.
Kenneth Miller,
Yes.
Rocky Preston.
Yes.
Leah Dyke,
Yes.
Norman Frazier,
Yes.
Gary Fur,
Yes.
Sonny Hall,
Yes.
Bill Melton,
Yes.
Doug Vickers,
Yes.
Michelle Hill,
Yes.
Janet Higgins,
Yes.
Roseanne Ward, Harold Hicks,
Yes.
Ronnie Hopper,
Yes.
Mary Powers.
Yes.
Angie Hearn,
Yes.
Don Patton,
Yes.
Ward Plan.
Yes.
Anyone wish to change their vote?
Motion carries. Line item 18, resolution to appropriate funds in the amount of $41,000 from the school unassigned fund balance in order to make additional repairs that were not anticipated.
Motion.
Have a motion by
Second.
Fraser, second by Patton. Any discussion?
Is that, are we just transferring money?
It's from their fund, yes, it's coming from unassigned, their unassigned fund balance. If no discussion, let's take a roll call.
Dana Ferguson.
Yes.
Kenneth Miller,
Yes.
Rocky Preston.
Yes.
Leah Dyke,
Yes.
Norman Frazier,
Yes.
Gary Fur,
Yes.
Sonny Hall,
Yes.
Bill Melton,
Yes.
Doug Vickers,
Yes.
Michelle Hill,
Yes.
Janet Higgins,
Yes.
Roseanne Ward,
Yes.
Harold Hicks,
Yes.
Ronnie Hopper,
Yes.
Mary Powers.
Yes.
Angie Hearn,
Yes.
Don Patton,
Yes.
Ward Plan.
Yes.
Anyone wish to change their vote?
Motion carries. Line item 20, resolution to appropriate funds in the amount of $7,000 from the unassigned fund balance within the county general fund in order to cover, am I on the wrong one? I skipped one, I'm sorry. Let me back that bar, I'm sorry. Pen's right too quick, y'all trying to get me out here. All right, line item 19, resolution to appropriate funds in the amount of $221,873 from the school unassigned fund balance in order to increase necessary expenditures in order to counter exposure of COVID-19 within the school system.
Motion.
Have a motion by Dana,
Second.
second by Sonny Hall. Any discussion?
Is this new money? Okay.
School money. Have a roll
Federal
call.
government's gonna take some of this.
There you go.
Dana Ferguson. Kenneth Miller.
Yes.
Rocky Preston.
Yes.
Leah Dyke.
Yes.
Norman Frazier.
Yes.
Gary Fur.
Yes.
Sonny Hall.
Yes.
Bill Melton.
Yes.
Doug Bickers.
Yes.
Michelle Hill.
Yes.
Janet Higgins. Yes. Roseanne Ward.
Yes.
Darrell Hicks.
Yes.
Ronnie Hopper.
Yes.
Mary Powers. Yes. Angie Hearn.
Yes.
Don Patton.
Yes.
Ward Plan.
Yes.
And
Motion.
change your vote.
Motion carries. Now, here we are at line item 20. Resolution to appropriate funds in the amount of $7,000 from the unassigned fund balance within the county general fund in order to cover additional expense that may be incurred by taking proper measures to counter exposure of COVID-19 within the courthouse.
Motion.
Motion, Ms. Dana, second by Mr. Hicks.
Question.
Discussion, yes.
And
Ms.
is,
Dana.
are this money we're gonna get back from the COVID stuff? Is this?
We're going to apply it. Yes,
Okay.
ma'am.
This is new money.
Yes, Ms. Rose Hill.
Question, are we hiring another part-time personnel or the ones who currently have to be working more hours?
We are increasing the part-time line. We already have the part-time workers, but of course, we need additional cleaning. And we saw with our previous, janitorial staffs that they're kind of undermanned right now, having to do all the additional cleaning. So we're going to beef up the hours for other part-time personnel to kind of meet those demands.
Thank you, sir.
If nothing further, we'll take a roll call.
Dana Ferguson.
Yes.
Kenneth Miller.
Yes.
Rocky Preston.
Yes.
Leah Dyke.
Yes.
Norman Frazier.
Yes.
Gary Fur.
Yes.
Sonny Hall.
Yes.
Bill Melton.
Yes.
Doug Bickers.
Yes.
Michelle Hill.
Yes.
Janet Higgins. Yes. Roseanne Ward.
Yes.
Darrell Hicks.
Yes.
Ronnie Hopper.
Yes.
Mary Powers.
Yes.
Angie Hearn.
Yes.
Don Patton.
Yes.
Ward Plan.
Yes.
Anyone wish to change their vote?
Motion carries. Line item 21. Resolution to appropriate funds in the amount of $1,190 to cover the county employee salary step raise that was not put in the fiscal year 2021 budget.
Motion.
Motion by Ms. Dana, second by Mr. Patton. Any discussion?
Yes, I do.
Yes, Mr. Norman.
All right. I need an education here. It says it's for the Chancery Court deputies, right? When we just gave the Chancery Court raises. So does this not, is this two separate things? And how's that, please?
Yes, it's two separate things.
How is it two separate things?
And basically, this was their department head not being probably foreseeing that they had step raises already due for the upcoming budget year.
So they're gonna get two raises.
And just
That's
get,
exactly what it is.
so, I
That's
guess,
exactly what it is, Mayor. We asked in advance to the budget process, we asked all county officials and department heads to please double check all of your employees and your staff, their anniversary dates. Because if there are any salary step raises that need to be included, please make sure it's in your original request. And unfortunately, some slipped through the cracks, such as Mr. Burris forgot to put Ms. Carly Bailiff separate. She has an anniversary coming up next month, that she is actually due her normal salary separate. That's completely separate from the gross salary increase that was just passed.
Thank you.
Any further questions? If not, take roll call.
Dana Ferguson.
Yes.
Kenneth Miller.
Yes.
Rocky Preston.
Yes.
Leah Dyke.
Yes.
Norman Frazier.
Yes with protest.
Gary Fur.
Yes.
Sonny Hall.
Yes.
Bill Melton.
Yes.
Doug Bickers.
Yes.
Rochelle Hill.
Yes.
Janet Higgins.
Yes.
Roseanne Ward.
Yes.
Darrell Hicks.
Yes.
Ronnie Hopper.
Yes.
Mary Powers. Yes. Angie Hearn.
Yes.
Don Patton.
Yes.
Ward Plant.
Yes.
Anyone wish to change their vote?
Motion carried. Line item 22, resolution to appropriate the funds in the amount of $16,763.90 from the unassigned fund balance within the county general fund in order to pay 3 county employees the back pay due for their 30 years salary step raise. Need a motion.
Motion.
Motion by Ms. Powers. Need a second by Ms. Dana. Any discussions?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
You know, Mayor, I didn't respond to your text message earlier tonight. I unfortunately have not seen this until just this minute, okay? I hear about how great our budget done. I'm very disappointed in our budget committee, okay? Very. I done talked to Phil Milton at great lengths this afternoon, and then he explained the raises to where I could understand it, and I appreciate that, Phil. I really did, and I voted for it. But you know, we just passed a budget not 40 days ago, 45 days ago, and here we are just keep piling money on it. You know, department heads dropping the ball, people not knowing how much money that we're going to have by the end of the season. I don't understand. I guess I'm going to have to be more into the budget process to get an understanding of how it works, because we're spending money we ain't got. Yeah, we got $88,000 in the black, but this should be showed up ahead of time. I heard our accountant make a comment that y'all covered $500,000 worth of being in debt last fall. Well, $300,000 of that was buildings that we bought that we didn't get reimbursed on the grants because we lost the bonds. So, let's call an elephant an elephant. These monies need to be watched better than they're being watched, folks. And I yield the floor.
Ms. Dana.
Is this, I'm confused on, why are we doing step raises here and we just did step raises again? I mean, this is another $16,000. If we do all of this, all the total new money for just this month alone in this commission that we have done is $146,296.65. That's a lot of money to come out that we just did the budget last month.
Ms. Ashley, you want to comment?
I was actually just going to say, if you want to put the back pay resolution off and do it 6 months from now, that's completely your prerogative. We have 3 county employees who their 30-year step raise was not given properly. That is Ms. Jean Rush, that is Ms. Kathy Boshiers, and Ms. one more, let me think, maybe Sheila Gaston. Either way, they are due their back pay, and you can either give it to them now or you can give it to them 6 months from now. And if you feel that the budget process has been inadequate, that's very, that's hard work and very discouraging, considering it is a very complex and complicated process, but I would encourage all of you, and Mr. Commissioner Fraser, if you feel disheartened about the budget committee and the work that they've done, I would encourage you and invite you to please attend our budget meeting. Maybe sit in and be more informed on what all this process does involve. falls between the cracks. Now, if this is, an unfortunate time to present this resolution, then I completely understand, and I'm sure that these employees would understand. So we need to put it off and bring it back up 6 months from now. We can, but again, that's up to you all.
I'd like to say something.
Go ahead. One moment, I've got one in front of you, two of them right here. Go ahead, Ms. Biggs.
Yes. I don't know why you're blaming this on the budget committee, Commissioner Frazier, because if the department heads were doing their job and they was running their departments properly, they would have a follow-up system where they would be reviewing their employees every year to see what they're due, and they would submit it to the budget committee. And it's not our fault, because these things are brought up.
How many of those department heads got called back in the budget committee to go over their budget before it was approved?
They should have had their budget.
How many
ready
were called
when
back
they
in?
presented it to the budget committee.
How many were called back in, Ms. Powers? How many?
We have
Ours,
no
y'all
way
can
of-
call them back
That's
then,
right.
we can only work with the information sent to us. We don't have any idea what.
First thing you did is throw raises out.
One moment, let's stay order. Go on, Mr. Victors.
I just want to rise in defense of the employees themselves. Let's don't penalize them because somebody else made a mistake. And putting off pay raise for them for 6 months is not right, it's not fair, because they weren't the ones that made the mistake.
But our county is being held hostage thereof because of employee raises.
Let's wait on term to speak, please. Mr. Field.
This resolution doesn't have anything to do with the budget process or what we do with budget. This is back pay from, I don't know how many years back, but it goes, it's back pay that was incorrectly calculated or only got part of it correct, and it's been caught, probably might have been caught because of the work we did trying to get information to do the longevity and stuff. But this is back pay owed to these employees, not part of the budget process this year.
Thank you.
Mr. Hicks.
That was my question. When is this back pay forward? Is it for this past year, the past 2 years? When did this start? I mean, to get it, you gotta know when it started.
I don't see a date on this, just, it shows, if you look at the resolution, it just
Before
shows
you blame the
per
current
individual.
budget committee, let's see when this occurred. It might have been the last budget committee
It could have
that dropped the ball.
been, it could have been 2 years ago that they did
Right.
got it. I don't know that, but anyway, I think Mr. Victor explained it because it ain't, or Mr. Field,
We
Mr.
should give
Field
them money
explained it.
owed. They deserve it. We owe it to them. But to blame somebody and not know when this occurred is not right neither.
I agree with you.
It certainly wasn't the employee's fault.
No, sir. Okay, gentlemen, go ahead, Mr.
Just want to
Mayor.
say, and again, this is not uncommon. You know, every July and August, we run into the adjustments to the budget. And this is part of the department heads dropping the ball on that. You can lead a horse to water, but you can't make them drink, so to speak. We can ask them so many times, but if they do not present the information to the budget committee, they can't read minds. So a lot of times these type of adjustments are discovered in those first couple of months. We just spent $221,000 on the schools and another $41,000 on the schools that they went and pulled money from their reserves to cover. This pales in comparison to that particular amount. Another thing, talking about the revenue. When we go for another bond request, we've already passed a reimbursement resolution for the property. So when and if, we get to that point, we will make sure that is still part of that bond request, that we pay ourselves back for that cash that we had to pull out of the reserve. So we'll make sure we do that. But revenues are good for Benton County. We budgeted conservatively and still came out in the black. So unfortunately, we're just having to make the adjustments in July, August, and get them out of the way, and hopefully we'll be done. Like I say, you don't know what's going to pop up from a department head. We address them as they come. But if that information is helpful, I hope it was.
Question.
Mr. First.
On these 3 people that didn't get to step up on the pay, why did they not go to the department heads and say, look, we hadn't received what we've got coming to us, and the department head go to the budget committee. No. Where'd that fall through the crack?
Hey, can I speak up here?
Yes, go ahead, Ms. Ashley.
Okay, so not all of this, whether it's the back pay or the mid pay grade, not all of that falls on just the department head. There's also been a change in administration. Okay, so when the salary schedule was originally created in 2015, we were under a different administration. And that county mayor at the time, I'm just going to spit numbers and examples out here. They don't hold me to them as factual, okay? But we're going to say once an employee hit 30 years, then they got up to $30,000 for their salary. Well, if we had an employee at 28 years, 29 years, who had made it up to 30,000 with their little cost of living raises here and there, then when they got up to their 30 years, that previous administration did not allow them to get their, we're going to say $1,000 raise to make it up to 30,000 because they were already at 30,000. So these employees that made it 30 years weren't getting any salary step raises. So then in the newer administration, when the salary schedule was being handled differently, so you're at 30 years, you're supposed to get this 1,000 step raise. Even if that puts you at 31, you go up 1,000. So then these three employees who have been here well over 30 years missed out. They were left out. They deserve their back pay.
Okay.
Okay, gentlemen, nothing further? That's for roll call.
Hill, this district, I was not recognized.
Go ahead, Ms. Hill.
One, I think these employees desperately deserve whatever back pay they are due. But I want to say that I agree with Commissioner Frazier that when all the department heads were told no increases, they were not invited to discuss it. It was just how it was. I can see how things like this fell through the cracks. I think we need more communication between department heads and the budget committee during these procedures so that these kind of mistakes don't happen in the future.
Thank you. Does anybody have any further on speak what we just had? If not, I'm going to ask the roll call vote.
Brenda Ferguson.
Yes.
Kenneth Miller.
Yes.
Rocky Preston.
Yes.
Belinda Dye.
Yes.
Norman Frazier.
Yes.
Gary Fur.
Yes.
Sonny Hall.
Yes.
Bill Melton.
Yes.
Doug Vickers.
Yes.
Michelle Hill.
Yes.
Janet Higgins. Yes. Roseanne Ward. Yes. Darrell Hicks.
Yes.
Ronnie Hopper.
Yes.
Randy Powers. Yes. Angie Hearn.
Yes.
Don Patton.
Yes.
Ward Plant.
Yes.
Anyone wish to change their vote?
Yes, I do, and I'd like to change it to yes, please. Commissioner Frazier.
Anyone else?
Motion carried. Line item 23, resolution to appropriate funds in the amount of $10,870 from the jail workhouse courthouse litigation tax reserve account in order to cover the emergency HVAC replacement with the Benton County Jail. I have a motion, Ms. Dana. Second, Mr. Hicks. Any discussion? No discussion. The roll call.
Brenda Ferguson.
Yes.
Kenneth Miller.
Yes.
Rocky Preston.
Yes.
Belinda Dye.
Yes.
Norman Frazier.
Yes.
Gary Fur.
Yes.
Sonny Hall.
Yes.
Bill Melton.
Yes.
Doug Vickers.
Yes.
Michelle Hill.
Yes.
Janet Higgins. Yes. Roseanne Ward. Yes. Darrell Hicks.
Yes.
Ronnie Hopper.
Yes.
Mary Powers. Yes. Angie Hearn. Don Patton.
Yes.
Ward Plant. Ward Plan?
Yes.
Anyone wish to change their vote?
Motion carries. Line item 24, there's no notaries, so it's going to skip us down to line item.
This number 14 resolution.
That's under,
That's under, I hadn't got it yet. Moves to line item 25, any other business? Any other business? I'm going to ask you to suspend the rules of order. I have two resolutions that's come before me just now. Need a motion to suspend the rules. What, Ms. Dana? Mr. Hicks, seconds. Take a roll call vote. Any discussion? If not, roll call vote, suspend the rules of order.
Dana Ferguson?
Yes.
Kenneth Miller?
yes.
Rocky Preston?
Yes.
Leah Dyke?
Yes.
Norman Frazier?
Yes.
Gary Fur?
Yes.
Sonny Hall?
Yes.
Bill Melton?
Yes.
Doug Bickers?
Yes.
Shell Hill?
Yes.
Janet Higgins? Yes. Roseanne Ward? Yes. Darrell Hicks?
Yes.
Ronnie Hopper?
Yes.
Mary Powers? Yes. Angie Hearn?
Yes.
Don Patton?
Yes.
Ward Plan?
Yes.
Anyone wish to change their vote?
Motion carried. This would have to be, business be line item 27, I guess you'd say. Sponsored by the Benton County Mayor Brent Lashley and the Election Administrator Mark Ward. Legislative Reference Budget Committee. Whereas the Benton County Commission is requesting to make a current part-time employee into full-time position in order to meet the needs and demands of the office. And whereas the Benton County Budget Committee has been informed of these needs and supported the creation of this new full-time position. And whereas it will be necessary to appropriate $20,769.40 from the unassigned fund balance within the county general fund in order to cover the full-time position for the remainder of this fiscal 2021 year.
Motion.
Having a motion by Ms. Dana, second by Mr. Hicks. Any discussion? If no discussion, let's have a roll call vote.
Wait a minute, okay.
Okay, discussion.
Another person on election, to work when that, did they work year round? What did they do?
What this particular position is we know that Mr. Ward has an employee that has an extended illness. And that particular employee has had to be out quite extensively seeking medical treatment over, past several months. And so this is just an anticipation that, we've just gone through, an election, a presidential primary. We've gone through an August state primary and county general. We've got a November election ahead. And so anticipating that one of the employees in the office, who is the full-time position, is simply just going to be out of the office extensively due to the illness, that this is a way to cover Mr. Ward and the needs and the demands of the election commission projected forward for the budget year. So I want to say it's better safe than sorry, but the part-time employee that he's got in there right now, he's pretty much elevating to the full-time position just due to the workload that is there. I know the budget committee is here. They've all heard Mr. Ward presented his case in front of the budget committee, and I guess you can say they blessed off on it. So this resolution is a result of the discussions that went through the budget committee.
Mr. Norman.
Question, Mayor, and pardon my coldness or whatever you want to put it under. When someone is out sick, that is a salary position, does that still draw on their salary, or is there sick days that are built into their pay plan?
They have accrued sick leave. I'm not on that. I guess, Wanda being a department head, you might be able to articulate a little bit more, as well as Ashley. But it would be also a long-term extended illness leave, like a Family Medical Leave Act. So they are covered under particular, statutes that would still guarantee their pay and salaries.
Okay, that guarantees their pay on the county draw, county budget? Not, the money is not laying there in surplus.
When you say laying there in surplus.
If they're drawing from sick days or some other type of program that is offered to them for sick days, is their salary still sitting there dormant?
Well, they are drawing from their salary, unless they have a long-term care policy.
Can I answer that?
Please.
Go ahead.
Okay. How Family Medical Leave Act works is what it does is it protects your job placement. When an employee goes on Family Medical Leave Act, if they have the vacation and sick time approved, they can use that. If they have run out of their leave, they are off without pay, but it protects their job placement for up to 12 months. So an employer is burdened with filling that spot at least temporarily, yet protecting that employee's job placement when they come back to work. Does that answer your question?
Yes, ma'am, thank you. So therefore, the extra money to pay this person is left in the account that's not being drawn upon.
And it could be returned at the end of the budget year.
So we could use that to pay the part-time person that's asking for a full-time position.
You could, if you could make an accurate adjustment. And I would say that the numbers that's been factored in here has been factored in by the department head, run through the budget committee. So that's kind of what the numbers that you see is what they pretty much agreed to.
Question the budget committee, did anybody ask the questions that I asked?
The position that's moving to full-time will drop, my understanding is that one of the positions will drop back to part-time. It will not stay as a full-time position, it will go back to a part-time position.
Thank you.
Okay. If there's nothing further on discussion, let's take a vote.
Dana Ferguson.
Yes.
Kenneth Miller.
Yes.
Rocky Preston.
Yes.
Leah Guy.
Yes.
Norman Frazier.
No.
Gary Fur.
Yes.
Sonny Hall.
Yes.
Bill Melton.
Yes.
Doug Vickers.
Yes.
Michelle Hill.
Yes.
Janet Higgins.
Yes.
Roseanne Ward.
Yes.
Darrell Hicks.
Yes.
Ronnie Hopper.
No.
Mary Powers.
Yes.
Angie Hearn.
No.
Don Patton.
Yes.
Ward Plan.
Yes.
Anyone wish to change their vote?
Motion carries. The Benton County, Tennessee Sport Complex Facility Operating Agreement. I assume everybody's got a copy of this.
Motion?
Nope.
And I'll just make it short and sweet. It's basically a continuation of the agreement that was in place last year. Due to COVID, we've not had park committee meetings. We know that our property committee meetings have been impacted since May. So this has not, it wasn't time to get into the renegotiation process. So really what we're asking is let's just continue the contract that was in place already, just extend it through this budget year.
I need a motion.
Motion,
Have a motion, Mr. Dana.
Second.
Second. Any discussion after hearing that? If not, I ask you to take a vote on it. No discussion? Roll call.
Dana Ferguson.
Yes.
Kenneth Miller.
Yes.
Rocky Preston.
Yes.
Leah Guy.
Yes.
Norman Frazier.
Yes.
Gary Fur.
Yes.
Sonny Hall.
Yes.
Bill Melton.
Yes.
Doug Vickers.
Yes.
Michelle Hill.
Yes.
Janet Higgins. Roseanne Ward.
Yes.
Darrell Hicks.
Yes.
Ronnie Hopper.
Yes.
Mary Powers.
Yes.
Angie Hearn.
Yes.
Don Patton.
Yes.
Ward Plan.
Yes.
Anyone wish to change their vote?
Thank you. Mr. Fowler, I see you in the audience. Would you like to make a comment tonight, anything at all? Mr. Newton, we're glad to let you I just recognize you sitting out there. If you'd like to say something, I know you're swearing next month, but if you'd like to share some moments, well, I'd like to have it.
No, I'm just looking forward to the opportunity to be a part of the community. Talk a little bit about something that's pretty dear to my heart, and that's the Wolf District Golf Course. Little pole around there, and I'm glad to see that's kind of, you know, what words y'all look for, is a table maybe, or something of that nature. But that's something that really needs to be looked into. That's the main reason I'm here, and to kind of see how this actually operates. I sit on a lot of boards with military and all our communities, and, you know, it's a learning process, and I look forward to it.
Thank you.
That's all I'd like to say.
Thank you very much. I want to recommend for you hard adjourn. I'd like to congratulate Mr. Vicker and Mr. Janney, Ms. Janney Higdon in what they've done. They have served in honor, and I think they've done the best of each one that could be done as expected. And I want to thank you in my heart to both of y'all what you've done. And condolence, I hope everything comes out that you'll come back and visit and be a part of us.
I'm not going anywhere.
Thank you, Janney. Ms. Davis. I have a motion, need a second. Who give me a second? Ms. Topper, second. Okay. Thank you. Meeting adjourned.